5 guys. Loud and clear, you got that?
Playoff baseball is here. 2.5 months of play have led us to the Northwoods League playoffs. Tonight, round 1 of the first half, Great Plains East champions, the La Crosse Loggers. In the second half, winners, the Duluth Huskies. And with that, we welcome you to Copeland Park. I'm Mickey Doolittle. That's Pete Knudsen. And Pete, one of these teams found out that they were going to the playoffs a month ago. One of them, 2 nights ago.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams have had good seasons at different points, right? Obviously, Duluth winning the second half. They've been playing basically playoff baseball for the last couple of weeks. For La Crosse, they won the first half. Not a great second half for them, but they've got a little bit of unfinished business here. They were the team that won out of the Great Plains East last year, got to that Great Plains championship game. They want to get back there. And you got 2 winning programs here tonight.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the last time these 2 teams met. That was all the way back on July 18th. Cardale Thibodeau hit this grand slam to blow the game wide open, and the Huskies rolled to an 11-9 victory.
Yeah, and as we take a look at the playoff bracket and see what's going on, all right, obviously some teams have had really great seasons. You've got Rockford and Kalamazoo over in the Great Lakes East Division. The 2 best teams in the whole Northwoods League, Madison and Wausau, will match up. That's going to be a great series as well. The series we have here, and then 2 teams that are very familiar to the playoffs in St. Cloud and Wilmer. They're going to go at it again. They had a great series in the opener last year, so it's going to be a fun, exciting playoffs, and it's great to celebrate these guys making it this far and having a successful season.
Right, so let's shift focus right back to tonight's game. Some keys to the game. Short memory for La Crosse. The second half didn't go their way. Last night, a bit of a disappointing loss to Minnesota, but they can get things turned around with a clean slate tonight and keep running. They were 3rd in the league in stolen bases this season, something that didn't really drop off from first to second half, and find the zone. Something that did change from first to second half was those walks, so pounding the strike zone is going to be so key in these next 2 to 3 games. For Duluth, finding soft contact. It's been their identity all year. They have the 9th best team ERA, while they've struck out the 4th least amount of hitters in the league, and continue the road surge. They had just 13 home runs at home, 31 on the road this year. That will be a concern tomorrow, but for tonight they can ride that wave and wait them out. As we mentioned, La Crosse has struggled to find the zone, so make them come to you, make those pitchers beat you and throw quality strikes.
We got a lot of great players in this series, obviously, Mickey, and La Crosse is going to bring Case Sanderson, a postseason All-Star. He had 3 home runs in a game against the Express this season, which set a record for this La Crosse squad, as well as OPS is over 1,000, and he's one of just 12 hitters this year with over 50 RBI. And on the other side, another great All-Star in Charlie Sutherland out of Minnesota. Again, a postseason All-Star, and he can spread the ball all over the place. I think his power to opposite field is what's really impressive with him. 4 home runs on the year. And again, he's got 19 doubles. He's a really solid player, and going to be a fun player to watch. So.
Yeah, should be fun. But these are the pitchers that are going up against them. These two pitchers. It's a game 1 of a series. You expect a really good pitching matchup, and that's what we have. Cassius Thomas going for La Crosse tonight. He's out of Stanford. He was phenomenal this year. A sub-3.5 earned run average, 24 strikeouts, 12 walks across 24 innings pitched, and he'll be going up against Anthony Barrera, 6'3", 185-pound right-hander out of Georgetown College, another guy that has been solid in his time here in the Northwoods League. Only 17 innings pitched, but he's pounded the strike zone, 15 strikeouts across 17 innings. So we are just about set for baseball. We'll send you out live to Copeland Park with lineups and first pitch in just a moment.
Why did they say it was doubled?
I don't know.
What does that mean? They're sitting
might have,
close to each other?
It might have been the way I was editing it. I gotta give some of my kids.
You know who brought that back?
I think it was Chris. Because I asked Chris, he was like, well, I don't know, but it's like, he meant something. Yeah, it was.
What, how many, how long is the commercial?
I'm gonna count her out right now.
Okay. Alright guys.
Okay, we are good on our end if you'd like to take
We're about
it
to
out.
come in.
coming back in 5, 4,
Ready, 4.
3, 2, 1, and you're back.
Okay, thank you. All right, guys, we're ready to go in 10, 9,
It's so weird controlling.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go.
Game 1 of the Great Plains East Championship, Lacrosse and Duluth just about set here from Copeland Park. Mickey Doolittle alongside Pete Knudsen. And Pete, you got the starting lineups for us.
Yeah, let's go through Duluth. Again, the second half champs in the Great Plains East coming into this game at 38 and 31 overall. And their lineup here today will go as follows. It will be Cardell Thibodeau who will lead things off out of Southern University. The designated hitter, Josh Duarte, going to bat second, the center fielder out of Georgetown College. Charlie Sutherland, the man we featured in the lead-in show, bats third and plays left field. Batting fourth and cleaning up, the first baseman, Ethan Cole. Joe Voss hits in the 5 spot, the right fielder out of St. Thomas. Tyler Palmer bats sixth, the third baseman from Nebraska Omaha. Batting seventh is Elijah Fairchild, the shortstop from Cal State Northridge. Batting eighth, the second baseman out of Cal Poly, Jake Downing. And batting ninth is the catcher out of the University of Kansas, Cal Elvis.
And that's the lineup that'll go up against Cassius Thomas, the Stanford man. 24 and 2/3 innings so far this summer. Out of Stanford again. This is a guy that they trust to get out of really tough situations. We talked to Josh Fry, the field manager for Lacrosse earlier today, and he said that traditional playoff leash that's a lot shorter normally doesn't really apply to him. He might go a little bit longer if he gets into a bit of trouble today.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why you love watching playoff baseball is because you get to see the best in the league. And this guy, you know, maybe had a bit of a rough season at Stanford, had over a 9 ERA, but he was the 5th-ranked prospect out of the state of California back in 22, the 2nd-ranked right-handed pitcher. He is a big-time prospect, and he's pitched so well for the Loggers this entire season.
Right, he has been phenomenal this season. And again, he's gotten out of those tough jams, so this is a guy that they trust to go deep into games. There's a reason why he's playing at such a high level in his college season. So let's take a look at the starting defensive alignment that goes up behind him for Lacrosse. Outfield from to right goes Sanderson, Hamilton, and Anderson. Ikas and Kucherak on the left side of the infield. Mitchell and Wattis on the right, and Ian Collier is the battery mate. He's out of Kansas, so it's Stanford to Kansas as the battery today. This is a really good defense, especially out in center field with R.J. Hamilton with a ton of range.
Yeah, solid defense. They had a .962 fielding percentage this season. Again, you got the field turf infield here, which certainly helps with that, but nonetheless, these are two good fielding teams, especially Duluth has done a great job in the second half. We'll talk more about that, but I expect clean baseball today. I think that's at least what we're looking for here in game one, even though the nerves sometimes get you in the early parts of a game one of a 3-game series.
So Cardell Thibodeau leads it off here for Duluth, just about set. Game
All right, guys,
one.
get ready for game.
These playoffs underway.
Ready, one.
Thomas deals.
Go ahead,
First
bug in.
pitch is called
All right,
strike
shit, cameras. Let's do it.
at
To our little
5:08.
start. One, you're good for now.
Tell me the weather.
Ready, one.
Second one on the way.
You did everything perfect.
Thibodeau, a couple of weeks ago, the escape artist ability that he has, there you see the numbers
Go ahead,
and the
roll it out.
information on Thibodeau. But for Thomas, rather, a couple of weeks ago, he was in Rochester, and he had a couple of errors behind him in the early innings. He fell behind, the team fell behind 2-0, but he was ultimately able to go 4 or 5 more innings where he only ended up giving up those 2 unearned runs. It's just a guy that can bear down and get through some gritty situations out there on the mound. That one's inside, appealed down to third base, and William Jett, no swing.
Yeah, that's something that not every Northwood pitcher can do down
No.
there, right? I mean, you get into trouble in the first, second inning. A lot of guys have to come out, they get a pitch limit, whatever it might be. But they can reset, pitch another 3-4 innings. That's a pretty impressive skill.
So we see a lot of snowballing effect in the Northwood City, because that's tap and foul. Still 2-2. Sometimes we'll see guys, once they issue a walk, it'll start to snowball. But Tom's very much not that guy.
He's like, he's like jumping around seeing it. I thought that was so sweet.
Facing Thibodeau out of Southern right now. Lefty on righty advantage for Thibodeau, the leadoff hitter.
Usually I'm up in the booth at that point.
Count runs forward. Thibodeau's got a guy for on base. He is extremely fast.
So the guy was saying his
theme
son.
across both of these teams. Duluth loves to run. They rank tied for 5th in the league in stolen bases. Lacrosse is 3rd in the league in stolen bases. Thibodeau pulls it on the ground, right side, backhand for Mitchell. One away.
You mentioned the speed, and I think that's something, Mickey, we're going to watch today. It's interesting, right? The Great Plains East had the dichotomies of different teams. These are probably the 2 fastest teams. They're the 2 that make the playoffs. You look at Waterloo, those are the teams that hit a ton of home runs, right? Because they still score a lot of runs. But you see kind of traditional baseball, so I wouldn't be surprised, especially when we get late in this game and it's close. You see a lot of bunts, you see a lot of hit runs. And for those who like old school baseball, I think you got a good chance of seeing that here today, especially if we got
So here's Duarte. That bat for him.
Last night they split it.
And even outside of these 2 teams, take one more look at the ground ball. Nicely done across the body, but if you look outside of these 2 teams in the Great Plains East, you got Thunder Bay, who's also very small ball oriented, and then you have Waterloo, that's perhaps the most small ball oriented team in the Northwoods League with Daryl Handelsman over there.
You don't have to hand put in
a lot of traditional baseball.
Roll
it out.
Strikes.
And good.
Yeah,
Take 2 already.
they play the running game. So.
Take 1.
Duarte is up. Another chance for Mitchell. No problem here. 2 down.
This is, I think, when you get some ground balls under your belt, that kind of thing. I remember the first game of the Great Plains East Championship Series of 2022 was over.
I said you did a good job.
And both teams made, I think,
It's good that you kept
nobody
saying
could throw the ball.
every
You could tell the
striker
nerves were big, but I think you get a couple of easy ground balls, a couple of team plays, it settles everybody down. Even on the mound, it settles you down.
Right. There's the postseason all-star Charlie Sutherland. Even if you can see your infield, your fellow infielders, if you're, you get over a third, you see Mitchell make a couple of those plays, and it gives you a little bit more confidence.
He doesn't ramble.
No, he doesn't.
Sutherland, even 1-1 now. Well, velocity is something that Cassius Thomas has a lot of. He tops out at 97 on his fastball. Very normal pitch mix, though. That's grounded on the ground right side. Diving stop from Mitchell. Gets up with it, throw to first. Goes up the line and towards the Duluth dugout. Sutherland takes the turn, and timeout is called, so it did trickle into the dugout.
I've never seen 6 officials.
And he's awarded second base. Nearly another really nice play from Mitchell. Great to see how that scored.
I think they gave it a single and an error then on the throw advance. But yeah, you're right. Against Sutherland, you know, he was taken off before that ball got out of play too, so he was wanting to get to second base. And I would expect that from both teams, is that they show aggression on the baseball. With an overthrow, you're going. Who cares if you're being backed up? You're going to kind of make the other team force them into making a play to get an out on it. Because again, pressure's on in the playoffs, right? A lot of times teams have a hard time making those plays.
So here's Ethan Cole, now an RBI opportunity.
Go ahead.
There are 2 guys in there
right now. And guys have home runs.
See how people
You're so good at
playoffs.
replacing 2 guys.
It's just a great effort to get to that ball,
Is your
though.
tripod good? You shift it a little.
Just offline.
And we're
And
coming out
Wattis
of
couldn't
replay
dig it
now.
out. Cole is 1 for his last 12 entering today, but a very good hitter as that gets over Collier. And now a runner at third with 2 outs.
Or FYI,
Errors are an important thing. You talk about pressure being a privilege, right? That's something you hear a lot of coaches talk about. I think one of the things about the playoffs is these guys, they haven't experienced this kind of pressure. They didn't make a state championship when they were in high school. Their college team didn't make it far in a conference tournament. This might be the first time they're really feeling playoff pressure, and it's important for your development as a player.
Leverage situations is really what makes a lot of great players. Nice backhand from Collier to prevent that from getting to the backstop.
Go ahead. Go in.
You see Cole out of Minnesota Duluth. Again, 1 for his last 12 entering today, but fresh slate into the playoffs. Batting averages reset to 0. You really want to pay attention to the stats. There's a knuckler off to the left side. He gets up with it. And battling it. So Thomas escapes the jam. And the Lockers will come up in the bottom of the first with still no score. Northwoods League Sports Network.
We are clear.
So
4, 3, 2, and 1. 5-1.
Welcome back here to Copeland Park. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for La Crosse Loggers.
It goes as follows here. It's R.J. Hamilton who will lead things off for the Loggers. Case Sanderson, who we featured in the lead-in show, bats second. Anderson, then Tyler Smith, one of the newcomers to this team. Recent player Ryan Kacharik will bat in the 5 spot. Then Wattis, Mitchell, Collier, and
No, we're gonna go
Lucas,
2.
round out the lineup.
I lied. Roll it out.
The starter for Duluth today is Anthony Barrera.
Starter after this at bat. Ready, 1.
He'll face R.J. Hamilton to get us started here in the bottom
Is
first.
Wants
to move the pitch,
Ready,
so
1.
a
First
speedy
pitch.
runner, one of the
Walking down
fastest
for
guys in the
pitcher.
league, will head down to first, and it only took 1 pitch.
Four. Not very
So
cool.
Barrera, 17 innings so far this year, a 4.76 earned run average to his
You
season.
want to tag him?
This will be his 4th start of the year. He's gone 5 or more innings in all 3 of
Right,
his
4. Go
previous
ahead. Space on
starts.
left. Space on left. 4.
So Case Sanderson, there you see the numbers on him, 6'3", 185 out of Georgetown College. Now facing postseason All-Star Case Sanderson.
Good.
There was something in between Barrera and Hamilton, but that's kind of interesting. You gave him a look. And
Stay on
again,
2.
these two teams have played
Yeah, I
8
got
times.
the- my pitch.
Cross
Yep,
got
we'll play that
6
after
out of the
this
8
game.
4 victories. Interested to see kind of how that develops here. This is a 3 games in a row, 3-game series in the playoffs.
Ready, 1. Go ahead.
Now it's 2 balls and no strikes. Here's one more look at it. You gotta watch the reaction too.
Right in the shoulder, I mean, up and in, first pitch.
Look at him. Look at that look.
Not a happy guy.
We're going to come out to Come back. Yep.
Hamilton with 42 stolen bags on the season. That ranks 3rd in the Northwoods League.
4.
So he's over at first with some good speed. There's Donald Say, our home plate umpire. 6-man crew here for the playoffs.
Take 2. Ready, 1.
You still need defense.
Yep.
Sanderson ahead 3-0 now.
Take 4. Let's tag him.
Yep, tag coming in.
Tag in. Can we push a little?
Sanderson with 6 home runs on the season and ranks 2nd in the league in OBP. They call him on-base Case.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. That is so wrong.
What?
Cross against the
He's
ball
just
was a resumption.
they call him
He
on base
actually
Case.
had 7 innings.
Stole it.
Pays attention to the broadcast. I think it's
Almost
fine.
to
Ready,
center
1.
field,
Not
just
going
almost
down.
center field.
4.
That's a lot. He makes it that much more impressive. His on-base Case is on base again. So he walks, and there's runners at first and second.
Go ahead.
Did the guy not know how many
Throw a
balls there
strike.
were?
As we take a look at the Duluth Huskies defense and how they line up. Sutherland, Duarte, Voss outfield from left to right. Palmer, Fairchild on the left side of the infield. Downwind and Cole on the right. And Cal Elvis, the Kansas Jayhawk, is the battery mate of the Georgetown College product, Anthony Barrera. This is a defense that in the first half committed 61 errors, which is up there amongst the league leaders. First pitch to Anderson is fouled off. But since then, they have really figured it out defensively in the second half.
Well done.
Here you look at Barrera, 17 innings pitched this season, and he had only a 1.18 whip, so that would have hit by pitch and walk. A little bit out of character for him. And Duluth in the second half, right? Their pitching has been much better.
Now a double steal, throw down to third. Hamilton drives in safely. So including the playoffs now, he has 43 stolen bases on the year and has only been thrown out 3 times.
Say 4-1. You do have a different white
We
balance.
talked about Hamilton is a big piece of it, as you said. Isn't it nice to be Case Sanderson running behind?
There you
Because
go.
you know you got a good shot getting to second. And this shows you, for a moment there, it looked like Duluth was going to bring the infield in the first inning, which shows you it's playoff baseball, but they're back to normal there.
That's something that maybe the defense was like, we want to go in, we want to prevent runs
You want to
here.
take 1?
So is that 43 bases for?
I think it was probably the players who wanted to do it. I guess
Right,
that's the
They
point.
don't keep track
He's
anymore.
one who told them to go back to normal depth.
Same way an offense wants to go for it on 4th down.
It shows you just how important early inning situations are in the playoffs. Everything's just magnified.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, we could talk
Third
about
base
what he
at
had
first.
previously.
Anderson
He
hits a
did bring
high
it
fly
up.
ball to center. Duarte in. Is this deep enough? It'll be Voss calling him off. Hamilton will bluff, but holds at third. So an unproductive out here
Take
is a
4.
big one for Barrera.
We got everything here.
One away.
3-3. You can show me
Again, you don't want to test it, make that
Well, there is
that's the
two
second
guys.
out at home,
It is
right?
two
Trying
guys,
to
right?
stretch that there. Everybody maybe going to be a little bit conservative in that sense. You don't want to make a big out and all of a sudden throw the momentum right back to Duluth in that case. So you can understand why you hold up. And because you have a guy who's hitting really well in the few games he's been in coming up here in Tyler Smith, and there's only 1 out.
All right, for your batter, we're going to name Smith after
Tyler
this pitch.
Smith
Ready,
now,
one.
only his 10th game of the season.
Possible run coming in. Forward.
Watches the ball
Take
low.
forward.
I think
All
your
right,
point's
let's
taken
sack
too. You know, if there's one out there and that's the
Dennis, he
second
does
out
get a
that's
base
gonna
hit.
caught,
Just remember,
then
there
I
might be
think
two
you
runners.
probably send the runner. But with nobody out, you might as well wait for another
Good.
opportunity.
Take two, ready, one.
Smith hit 333,
Oh.
and it's a high drive to right. Voss back.
Just call it.
Gone!
Forward.
I was like, didn't he just take the home run last night?
Ready, three. Take three.
I called it.
Ready, one. Take one, ready, four. Ready, three. Take three, ready, four. Take four.
Smith hasn't played a lot, Mickey, but I'll tell you what, 33 at bats coming in. He's got 2 home runs, and he just hit another one there. Very impressive. He definitely has a powerful bat there at the plate for the Loggers.
He has been so good since coming in. Again, only his 10th game, and homers again. He hits the celebration in the dugout. And Duluth has some work to do here against the first half champions.
Video. Loggers.
You know, you and your normal color commentator and Kyle and I like to talk a lot about free passes and how big that is. And look at that, 2 of the runs that score were a hit by pitch and a walk, and how big and magnified that looks like in the playoffs. Because typically, what you get out of the inning if you don't walk those guys or hit them. Instead, your inning keeps going, and all of a sudden, Phillies just won a 3-run home.
God, I'm getting chills, dude.
This is Kucherak.
Why? It's cold?
No.
Look at it. He hit this ball on the screws.
What did he say? Screws?
So, you talk about the free passes and everything. And that's something that me and Kyle, yes, have talked about a lot this year. Is Kucherak sends it right back where it came from.
Take four.
And Lacrosse has some going still in the first inning.
I mean, for Duluth's pitching staff, they've given up under 400 walks on the season, which is actually, you know, a pretty decent number. Not terrible. You know, they throw first pitch strikes about 56% of the time. You just get the feeling like there was something that happened there with that R.J. Hamilton with the hit by pitch. There was something behind that. And go figure, maybe you wanted to send a message. Maybe it was from earlier this season, but now
Take two, ready, one. All right. Now would be a good time for you to show me
just
who's coach. Ready, one.
First pitch to Wattis, it hit high and deep to left center field. Duarte back, but he makes the play. And there's 2 down. That was another hard hit ball.
And the wind doesn't look like it's blowing out. Maybe toward right a little bit, so it might have helped that home run from Smith. Kind of blowing from left field foul pole to right field foul pole. Not terribly strong, but the ball does seem to be hopping here early on. And that's kind of been a theme, at least in the Great Plains East this season, has been that the ball has hopped a lot.
Right.
Home
runs. Gable Mitchell showing bunt here with 2 outs. The defense is played at normal depth, except for Cole holding on Kucherak at first.
Keep that shot in mind.
I can take it.
3-1.
1-0. This is outside again. Just to finish my thought from earlier, those walks, they make the mistakes that much more impactful because you can give up a bloop single
And good.
any day, but with 2 outs, your base is empty without walking somebody, that means nothing. But then if you walk 2 people in front of them, that bloop single, those are going to happen. Those are pitchers executing a lot of the time. And then it becomes that much more impactful when a runner scores because of walks. Josh Fry in the dugout, loving what he's seeing right now. Mitchell takes a strike.
It's always interesting with this format, right? With the home crowd or the home field advantage going to the team that plays game 2 and 3, right? They play those at home. You know, if they can get that win on the road, it tends to go really well for them. But you know, because they can wrap it up basically the next day. But if the home team wins the first one, that's what really kind of throws the series out of whack. So to get this early lead at home first game is really big for the Loggers.
We said last night.
And especially with the Duluth team that's played so well on the road this year. Now the runner's off towards second, and it's ball 4.
Take 1, 4. 3 pitcher.
We've talked about it in the first inning.
Okay, I'm 1 right now.
Mickey, about how Cassius Thomas was a guy that if he got into trouble, he could kind of work through it as well. But remember, I mean, this is playoffs, and now you see Barrera getting into trouble here. There's a lot of guys available for Duluth. They had wrapped up the playoff spot on Friday, so they could kind of rest some guys yesterday, make sure people were available. So don't be surprised if Barrera keeps getting into trouble that Duluth may go to the bullpen relatively early.
Right. Now it's Ian Collier, the eighth hitter of the inning. 22nd pitch of the inning from Barrera, misses inside. Keeping Mitchell honest over at first. Collier out of TCU.
Go ahead, run it out.
And
265 this year, with 3 home runs and 11 runs batted in.
I'm gonna stay on 2.
Now he's ahead 2-0. And yes, there are 2 outs. You're a pitch away from getting out of the inning. But if you're Barrera, you really want to limit this damage. You don't want to make this a big inning. That's dumped down the right field line, but foul.
It is worth noting, I mean, he's a little ways away, but the pitch guidelines that we have throughout the regular season, they still exist in the playoffs, right? So 35 pitches in an inning, you can't come out for another inning if you hit that number, finish inning, you're in that sort of thing. Of course, there's a 100-pitch limit and all those, which aren't relevant yet, but the 35 pitches is getting close, right? He's about to throw a pitch 25, and that still exists in the playoffs here in the Northwood City.
Take one.
It's a knuckler off to the right side, downing up with it on a hop. And that'll end the inning. But Lacrosse scores 3 in the inning thanks to Tyler Smith's 3-run homer. Has them out in front of the Sports Network.
Take one. 5, 4. We're gonna go to break on you.
13 minutes.
Clear for 2. And 1, we're clear for 2. You guys are good. On.
Last night.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by The Grind, the official coffee of the Northwoods League. The Grind and select ballpark team stores and online under the shop menu on team websites. A portion of the proceeds for each bag sold will go to benefit the Northwoods League Foundation. Find out more at northwoodsleague.com/foundation. Well, Duluth comes up here in the 2nd inning, and they've got some work to do. 3-0 Loggers. Leading off is Joe Voss. Takes a strike. It was a homer for Tyler Smith in the bottom half of the first.
after each out, let's get each on. How about that?
Voss had an 880 OPS for these Huskies this year.
They'll maybe talk about more.
Also a fast runner. That's fouled back. 22 stolen bases.
Yeah, just a good all-around player. I think that's something that, and you talked about in your piece of the game, right? That these guys are all kind of just good all-around players. They do a lot of things that feel right. They run well. And, maybe they don't hit the power, but they hit.
I know. Well, we got a little upset.
Keep quiet.
I think it's Case Sanderson was up.
And that's kind of illustrative of this lineup, up and down. They're all very, very solid players. Even at the bottom of the lineup, you can't really take the foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah, right. You can tell Elvis at the bottom. He's had a number of good games, especially the last couple of weeks. Yeah, and that's what you should have, right? When you get to the playoffs, you shouldn't have any team that's got a couple guys that you can just kind of swing right past. But both these lineups, I think, are very formidable moving forward.
And
now it's 2-2 on Voss.
Oh,
he's left foul. And despite even the half that Lacrosse had, they come in, not the best second half. They went 10-22, but they're still a very potent lineup, and especially given a 3-game series in the playoffs, you can choose your best starters. This is a really good team that can be dangerous going forward. As Voss dumps it out from left field, Sanderson comes in, there's one away.
Yeah, it's similar to kind of what happened last year in the Northwoods. Green Bay, who won the championship, right, won the first half. They had an okay second half, not quite what Lacrosse had in terms of record there, but they were not clicking on all cylinders coming in to the playoffs. They got hot. They beat a really good Madison team and then rolled against St. Cloud in the championship, which a lot of people I didn't think expected as well. So those first half teams, they don't always do it, but they definitely can get hot at the right time. And
anything can happen in 1 or 3-game series. It's such a small sample that you get hot at the right time and you can find yourself in the championship.
The black line with all the scores running below it.
Yeah, the ticker.
This is high. He's out of Omaha.
And they know, too, I think, Lacrosse, right? I mean, they know that after today, they got to be road warriors because they have the worst record of all the teams in the playoffs. So they know this is the last game, then they're on the road the rest of the way, and they know they got to kind of stick together in that sense.
Did he go?
The check swing, appeal down to first. Yes, he did go. That's Max Steiner down there. Ball and 2 strikes.
After this out, let's get him at home.
What we doing? 3-2?
I mean, Duluth has been road warriors all season long, so if they find themselves on the road, you know that they're not phased by that.
Can we shoot home plate up?
Yeah, great road record.
And then
More
one
home runs
get
on the
that
road.
out.
I think you
Right,
mentioned
right
in the
now.
lead-in show as well, 21 and 13
I don't know.
overall on the road. It's weird. It's so antithetical to what you think, but they've really kind of come together as a team when they're on the road and really rallied around.
Palmer strikes out looking. There's 2 down. That's Thomas picks up his first strikeout of the game.
Take 1, ready 4.
So they'll head back to the dugout. 17 and 19 on at home for the Huskies this year. That is just, that's crazy. There's Donald Say, the home plate umpire. Again, we're running with a 6-man crew for these playoffs. There's Max Steiner down at first base. Here's Elijah Fairchild.
All right, Jen, so all we need is your ump.
This is high.
We'll get that after this out.
Third base side.
And then we need to get the ump in the outfield.
I thought I was pulling the slide when I told him.
Tom Purchase at second, William Jett as at third.
Shit off.
3-1. Take 1.
Slow roller to the right side. Mitchell charges, and that'll end the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Huskies. They were put down efficiently by Cassius Thomas. We'll head to the bottom of the second on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
It's 5:05.
We're clear.
Park near you.
2 and 1.
We're on the banks of the Mississippi tonight. A look at downtown La Crosse as they are feeling good in that downtown area right now. Their Loggers leading 3-0 as they'll bring up 9-1 and 2 here in this second inning. Starting with Elijah Ickes, and he swings through the first pitch.
Yep. I just rolled it up.
Still facing Barrera. Threw 25 pitches in that first inning. Really labored, gave up the 3-run homer to Tyler Smith, and then escaped a first and second situation.
This is a big inning for Barrera.
Oh, you did that today?
Just because of the fact that now it looks like on the other side,
three
Thomas is
still
really
again.
settling in, so he's got to keep the Ross down here if he wants this Huskies to make a comeback.
That's the camera you should use for your defense.
There's strike, 1 ball and 2 strikes now
Well,
on the Hawaii product. Elijah Ickes.
Sorry, I should have been here earlier.
He's a fast player, got a lot of speed, and he's also swinging a hot bat coming into this game. 7 for his last 14.
A really good pipeline here in La Crosse for Hawaii. Ben Ziegler-Namoa was an all-star last year out of the University of Hawaii. They bring in a lot of guys from the University of Hawaii and really good players for the Rainbow Warriors there as well. Just kind of continue that tradition.
Fairchild up with it, and he throws high, but it's in time. That looked like it was going a lot higher, but Cole has a lot of height over at first base. Just one away.
Call that sneaky height. But yeah, you're right. He does a nice job holding it up. And yeah, you just every little thing, it just shows you how important ball was.
There's Tom Purchase, second base umpire. And again, 6-man crew tonight. You'll see a scattering of black jerseys. Cree Wallen down the right field line, and then Tyler Jettings down the left field line to round out this crew. Donald Say behind home plate.
And we will.
There is Jettings. William Jett at third, and Max Steiner is at first.
Imagine, I mean, there's 4 playoff games, right? And there's 6 umpires on each, so 24 guys get the bid, right, to be in the playoffs. So it's a big honor for those guys to get selected, and just kind of shows who's been really consistent, able to manage a game as well. I think that's a big piece of why these guys get selected to be umpires here, and so best of the best in the playoffs, as you might imagine.
Defusing situations, situational awareness too. 2-0 to R.J. Hamilton is called strike.
One of my pitcher right now.
We actually had a chance to catch up with some of the heads of umpiring for the Northwoods League, and they told us that that is one of the most important things that they look for. Yes, they do look at called strikes, called balls, whether or not they get calls right, but also the ability to, as you said, manage those games.
Defuse situations, like conflict management, those are the big things. Those are things you don't really realize that umpires have to be so good at.
Hamilton was ready to go to first. He's called back to the batter's box, Donald Say. Now it's 3-2. He's hit by a pitch on the first pitch of the first inning. Sanderson is on deck. It's a high pop-up, right field. Voss barely has to move for this. There's 2 down.
And then I got like a nice.
Yeah, this could be a really big bounce back inning from Herrera. Again, we talked about at the top of this inning that he's really got to be good, shutting down Lacrosse, because it feels like on the other side, Thomas is his style. Again, Duluth's got a good lineup, but 3-0 lead just this early feels really big for Lacrosse at the moment.
Here's Sanderson. Big but not impossible. If you can get some pitches out of Thomas, that's really going to be key. You need to get pitches out of him, and as you get into the later innings, hopefully knock him out of the game.
3-1. 3-4. Take 4.
That's even.
Want to go completely like.
Yeah, the other interesting thing to see with starters, especially in the playoffs, is that you find out if a guy is available all week or if this is the last inning. Right? If he throws it up to that 100 pitches, all right, you're burning him this time, and this is it. And go pitch your best game. If you get a guy pulled early sometimes, it's because we want to use him in a game 3. We want to use him maybe in a Great Plains Championship game.
You're right.
Yeah, those pitch limits really just put another element of strategy onto this in the playoffs. There you see the league leaders in batting average. Sanderson right up there with them, sitting fifth. So he hits a high drive to right. Voss back.
Get out.
Gone.
3-1. Take 1, 3 fans. 3-3. Take 3. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. That's good right there.
3-1. Take 1.
That's probably the sexiest shot we've had all year.
3-3.
Yeah, he knew that ball was gone off the bat. He gave it a little bat flip at the plate and just kind of admired the work off the right field. Case Sanderson talked about, it's funny, we talked about this being maybe a ground game for traditional baseball, and go figure it's the long ball that gets it done here for the Loggers.
2 home runs have put them ahead. 1 off the bat of Sanderson and 1 from Tyler Smith that drove in 3. Here's Luke Anderson.
Oh, there he is. He did it.
Outside.
32. And take 2. Nice.
That dugout's feeling good right now.
How many times, Mickey, this season have you seen a guy get
They know when
on
it's on
right afterwards? A
3-1.
2-0, a 3-0 count. It's just so hard sometimes to mentally refocus.
That would also help.
Right now, otherwise you can win.
You're trying to say,
I
can't throw one.
When you
No,
coach,
you try to mix things up and paint some pitch, and they end up going to a tough count.
Guys start to try to nibble around the plate, and that never ends up too well. Here's one more look at it.
You hear the announcement here, 400 feet on that home run as well. And he knew it. I mean, he knew it the second that ball was off the bat.
Right center is a long way. There's a line drive to Sutherland. He's back, and it just goes over his head. So Luke Anderson into second with a 2-out double. That had a lot of backspin on it. I thought it was hit right at Sutherland, and he thought it was 2. He froze.
He's an all-star. He's got a good glove out there in left field. Yeah, so just a bad read on it. It does seem, I mean, what we've seen early on, obviously 2 home runs, that the ball is really jumping here today. Again, not a whole lot of wind, but maybe a little bit warmer than it's been the last day or 2 in the area. So that ball is certainly jumping off the bat here.
And that gives Tyler Smith the opportunity here in the second for even more RBIs. He had a 3-run homer in the first.
Do you want to show his homer after this pitch? I can look for it.
And just crushed a ball over the right field fence and continued his great tenure here with Lacrosse that has been short. Again, just his 10th game. Here's a look at the first inning home run off the bat of Tyler Smith.
Not terribly different than what we saw from Sanderson. They're getting it up in the jet stream down to that right field side.
I'd like to see the exit velo on that.
I'm sure it was pretty good. Again, it's one of those where it seems like Herrera is ahead of this count, but maybe trying mistake pitches when he's ahead. Right? He doesn't want to throw the ball right down the middle, and maybe because he threw 25 pitches in the first inning, he's thinking pitch count. I need to get quick outs, right, so I can stay in this game.
Is that a solo shot from Sanderson?
Yes.
Smith pokes at one, hits it out to left. Sutherland back, and this one won't go over his head. But Lacrosse adds 1 more thanks to the solo homer from Case Sanderson. They're up 4-0, heading to the 3rd on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
3, 2, 2 minutes, guys. Clear for 2. 4, 3, up 3.
2, and 1.
Well, we got a power surge going on here from Copeland Park in La Crosse. It's 4-0 Loggers over the second half champions Duluth Huskies. And Duluth has some work to do here against a guy that's really feeling good, Cassius Thomas.
Yeah, the only hit so far was an infield single for Charlie Sutherland. You know, I wouldn't say there's been terribly great contact made yet by the Huskies. So yeah, Thomas has it going. He's inducing weak contact, and Duluth's going to have to try to manufacture something here to get on the board.
8, 9, and 1 due up, starting with Jake Downing, the second baseman out of Cal Poly. He's a part of this lineup that's just up and down really, really good. There he hits one on the screws in right center field, and it'll be extra bases for him. R.J. Hamilton goes a long way to track this one down. Downing slides anyway into second. I don't think he had to do that, but he looks cool. He gets style points, and Duluth has something going.
I think he might have been trying to slow himself down because he wanted to go to third on that play, but got the hold sign from his third base coach, and it was almost more of a way to throw on the brakes. But obviously, you don't want to make that first out of the inning at third, and you know, you don't want to take yourself out of any rally when you're down 4-0. This early on, but a well-hit ball found a gap, and now Duluth can kind of play Duluth baseball and try to manufacture at least one here in this inning.
6th double of the summer for Downing. Here's Cal Elvis. Pitch from Thomas. Called strike. Cal Elvis, his brother actually played for La Crosse a couple of summers ago.
I was just reacting because I thought you were so fish.
His brother was Cole Elvis. He actually played in Kansas, where Cal is on his way to in probably just a couple of weeks here.
Yeah, you know, Cal Elvis, he's not your prototypical catcher, right? He's only 6 foot, 190 pounds. He can actually run the bases pretty well, which you don't see from every catcher in the Northeast League. The guy who can steal a base, and a really good base runner when he does get on.
Downing gets a running start towards third, and that throw has no chance of getting in. He got a great jump, and he steals a bag.
Well, you hear some of the great base stealers in baseball history talk about how sometimes they think that stealing third is easier than stealing second because you can get that running, walking lead. And you see more guys that feel like this season take off for third and get there easily. And it happens there again for the Huskies, and now a really good chance to get at least one here in this inning.
It feels like a must get. Down 4 right now against Thomas, who's only given up one really well hit ball. Just got to get one. Start to climb your way back into this game.
Staying on 2.
All 3.
Yeah, why not be a little patient there if you're Cal Elvis, right? On a 2-1 count, now he gets ahead 3-1. And now you got a chance to really start up an inning here, getting an extra base runner and getting the top of the lineup up to the plate here for Duluth.
This is the 9th stolen base of the year for Downing. Now Elvis draws the walk.
You want to take one?
So perhaps maybe a little bit of trouble here for Thomas brewing with runners at the corners and still nobody out. And now the top of the order comes up.
You know anything about Marcus Pointer, who's been the manager here for Duluth since 2019. He loves to steal bases. He loves to have a running team. And if this isn't a double steal, at least they don't try it in this situation, I'll be shocked. I know it's the playoffs. I know they're down 4, but you got some good speed here on the baseballs.
Ardell Thibodeau now. Now Elvis was running before the pitch was even thrown, and he is into second with just no shot. And they have Cassius Thomas's windup timed up really well right now.
Yeah, they knew what was coming there, and I think La Crosse said, you know what, the heck with it. We'll let him go to second. We don't even want to mess around. We're going to ball.
Let's get better on better.
Thibodeau, pop a foul.
44, take 4. Tell me when you want to roll.
They're stealing these off the pitcher. There's a distinction between stealing off the catcher and stealing off the pitcher. And they haven't timed up. He was moving before Thomas even moved. As there's a league leaders in walks, and Thibodeau and Voss each up there.
And out center him up.
Thibodeau trying to get on again here to load the bases, but behind 0-2.
Take one.
Writes that one into right field past the outstretched glove of Wattis. They wave Elvis in. Here's the throw to the plate. He's out by a mile. Anderson gunned him down, and there's one away. Wow.
Hold that.
That's a really, really aggressive send there with nobody out. Again, that ball got out there in a hurry, and it was a play that probably should have been made by Wattis at first. I'm a little surprised that they sent him in that situation. Just no need to with nobody out. But they do get the one run, which they needed to get, but this could end up really hurting Duluth in the end.
Here's the play again. That was ruled a single just past Wattis. So again, yeah, with one out, that is or nobody out, that's an aggressive send. But there's the silver lining. Thibodeau is now at second because of the throw.
Right as we come out.
Yeah, we talked about how Elvis has good speed, but Anderson's got a great arm, and he was so shallow to make that throw. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it puts pressure on everybody, including base coaches as well.
Thibodeau off towards third. Throw down is in time. He got him. 2 outs created on the base paths by Duluth, and there's 2 down.
Want him on catcher right now?
Well, I don't. You hate to say running out of an inning, but right now Duluth has certainly done that. And unless Duarte can start this thing back up at the plate, what probably should have been at least a 2 or 3 run inning. What a heck of a snap tag there by Iquez at third. But what probably should have been a 2 or 3 run inning, the way this is going, is turning into just a 1 run inning. And that is, again, everything magnified like we talked about. And that's a big potential mistake here in this inning for Duluth.
Duarte behind 1 ball and no strikes.
3, let's tag him. 3-3. You have to take 3, go ahead.
Yeah, that is huge. Thibodeau had only been thrown out 4 times this year.
This team doesn't get thrown out much, only 36 times and caught stealing on the season as a squad. So, I mean, this is not a team that tends to get thrown out early, and they actually did a lot in the first half. The second half, I think it was only 10 times they got caught stealing. They had a really, really good percentage in the second half.
And that's something that Marcus Pointer talked to me about, is this roster didn't turn over a lot. The personnel was largely the same. Duarte draws the walk. But they said, he told us that they had a lot of road games to open up the year. They were on the road a lot. And in Duluth, you're traveling a long way to get to your road opponents. So they didn't have a ton of time to work on this stuff. And he said that eventually they had a couple of home series in a row, and they were really able to coach these guys and instill in them the aggressiveness on the base paths and how to steal off these Northwoods League pitchers. Charlie Sutherland foul tips a ball into Ian Collier's glove.
I mean, you'd be surprised just how much a guy can learn in a summer in the Northwoods League in terms of stuff like that, right? It's the little mental things about baseball that, sure, you learn them in college, but maybe you never had an opportunity in high school to do that particular play, or to know that you should go, first and third on that base hit, or whatever it is. But it's those little things that end up separating the good players from the great players that you have to learn, and you end up learning a lot of them in the Northwoods League.
Some of these guys at larger schools have sat out a lot of the year. So this is their first game action in a long time. Keeping an eye on Duarte over at first. He has 14 stolen bases on the year.
Double-digit stolen bases pretty much up and down the lineup, really for both these teams. Again, you just have to be aware as a pitcher playing either Duluth or Lacrosse about what's going on bases.
Sutherland takes the strike. With 2 outs, runner at first. I mean, yes, you have been caught a couple of times on the base paths in this inning, but this is not a bad time to send Duarte over towards second.
Yeah, this would be the one time to go, right? 0-2 count, you're expecting an off-speed pitch. Time to get to second base.
Sutherland watches a fastball high.
Right, fastball up high, and probably would have been an easy job there for Collier to throw him out. But yeah, you might get a little bit shy, right, to go after the way the outs have been made in this inning.
With Thomas's fastball, it makes it a little bit more difficult. It's coming in at 94, 95. It usually tops out around 97.
We can get Velo a next shot. All right, 4.
A ton of velo. There's a reason he's playing at Stanford right now.
And we haven't seen the pitch splits, but I'd imagine he's thrown probably 80% of fastballs here so far. I mean, he's not really throwing a lot of his off-speed stuff yet. through almost 3 innings of play.
Now the runner's off towards second. Check swing, and it is caught by Kucherak at short. Wow, he had to do a little zigzag maneuver to get back over there, and that'll end the inning. Duluth has won, but it could have been a lot more. We'll head to the bottom of the third on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
Announcers down.
Hang on tight.
4, 3, 2, and 1.
Kucherak, Wattis, and Mitchell due up here in the bottom of the third here for La Crosse. They're looking to build upon their 3-run lead against Barrera. First pitch is skied out to left. Sutherland in, very loudly yelling that he has it. There's one away. That might have been a fan. I think that it might have been a fan that fooled all of us.
Home field advantage.
So with one out, here comes Zach Wattis.
It's one of the fun parts of the Northwoods League, right? You know, the fans get kind of up close and personal with the players. You know that in Rochester, right, with the party deck down the left field line. Eau Claire's got the fan deck in right. Obviously here in La Crosse they've got that as well. But those outfielders, you know, they end up having a little back and forth sometimes with the fans. Those fans are going to be into it, right? I mean, fans hang around, you know, the rivalries and the playoff histories and all that. Those are things fans care about because they've been around for a long time watching it. So they, you know, the frustration of not winning since whenever it is, right? That's all there when you're trying to will your team on to a playoff victory.
We've seen a couple of fans or players, and specifically outfielders and corner outfielders, really getting into it with the fans and having fun with them. Especially the left fielders here right next to the deck down the left field line. Wattis takes a mighty hack and misses. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Next pitch, we can do batter's face on left.
Well, Barrera has given up those 4 runs. He got through the first 2 outs of the second inning relatively quickly. And then he gave up the homer to Sanderson, a double to Anderson, and then a fly out. There you take a look at the average leaders.
Secondary average. Run it out and go.
Zach Wattis has had a phenomenal year this year. Here he draws the walk. Are you a baseball or softball coach? One-way coach-to-catcher communication is brand new to the game. The Northwoods League is proudly partnered with the Headset app to be their preferred coach-to-catcher communication solution. Try it out with your team today using hardware you already own. Download the Headset app from your app store. Try it for free for 5 days. Here's Gable Mitchell, the Iowa Hawkeye. There is Division I talent up and down this La Crosse lineup. It really throughout the Northwoods League, but there's a lot of power conference players on this team and in this lineup today.
Yeah, it always seems like La Crosse always gets a lot of really good D1 players. I mean, you look up and down the list of alumni. La Crosse has a bevy of riches in terms of MLB players. Scherzer, right, Chris Sale, Hames, Curtis Grant. I mean, the list goes on and on with the guys who have played here, and I mean, they've had some really great players. I think their feature they did in their program days, Mason McCoy, another great player who was here as well. They've had so many good players over the season, and that's why, right? Division I players go big majors.
Flip shot down the left field line. Sutherland watches it drop foul. Yeah, you just head downstairs here at Copeland Park and you see probably 30 or 40 plaques that are just each dedicated to major league players.
Can you give me a runner on first base?
Scherzer, perhaps the biggest one, but there's a lot of them down there that have really made great careers in the major leagues.
Yeah, I love the teams that do that. Wilmer does a good job of that with those as well, as you see the stolen bases there for Wattis. But yeah, Wilmer does a good job with it. St. Cloud does a great job of Joe Faber Field of recognizing all their guys who've made the big leagues. Eau Claire has the big banners outside of their guys who've made it as well. So yeah, it's such a good thing to see.
That's just a
all
minor
those guys who've made it.
It wasn't even a.
Now Wattis off towards second, and it's fouled at the plate.
3-4, take 4.
I know Mankato does a really good job. They have a couple of plaques or banners to Brandon Crawford and the other players that have made it big.
Okay, good trade-off.
Again, it just keeps growing, and with the number of teams that we have and all the guys who've made it, it's pretty impressive just to see all the guys who've been drafted over the years. You can see lists of those at firstconferenceleague.com to see just how many guys.
4, pick up the batter, read 4.
And Mitchell strikes out.
3-1.
There's 2 down here in the third. So long at that for me. Fouled a couple of pitches off. So Barrera looking for his first clean inning of this one.
He got those 2 outs quickly in the second. We thought, all right, he's settled into it. And then, as you mentioned, right, it was the home run and then the double that kind of ran that inning away from him and ran the pitch count up a little bit as well. So he needs that badly if he wants to even try to get to like a 5th inning right now, because he's about to throw pitch 63 of his outing. Pitch count just continues to climb.
Ian Collier now. We just showed you Marcus Pointer and Jake Pashby. Those two are going to be making the decision on how far Barrera goes in this game. You see the numbers on Collier. Collier in his 19th game this summer. He's out of Texas State. Check over. That was close. Wattis just got the right hand back in and head first slide.
That was a perfect throw. I mean,
right.
A worse throw, and it's not nearly that close, but that was a great throw from Barrera.
Ethan Cole barely had to move his glove. That's ripped down the left field line, a fair ball. Sutherland has it and cuts it off. Nice play by him. And that holds Wattis over at second. More loud contact with 2 outs.
It certainly was. The confidence of All-Star and Charlie Sutherland to backhand that one and cut that one off. I mean, he misses that one. You're already down 4-1, and all of a sudden things can compound. But did a really nice job cutting that off, because Wattis, who we just saw, had a ton of speed, those stolen bases. He wanted to go to third really badly on that base hit.
3-1.
Here's Ickes.
3-3. Take 3. Look, you want to tag Ickes?
Yeah, but sending him to third there, that's a tough deal with 2 outs in the inning.
Tag out.
Especially if you're in scoring position already. A base hit with his speed, and Wattis gets you a long way. That throw goes into right field. It gets away from Cole. Elvis's throw pulled him off the bag a little bit. So moving to third is Zach Wattis.
So that play right there, Collier almost baited that throw. He got way off the bag at first. He saw Cole was way off the bag at first. Cole went behind him for that pick play, and it's almost like, I don't want to say he slid into the ball, but it's almost like he forced that bad throw from Elvis.
Because it's a high drive into right center field. Voss back, and it one-hops the wall. This gets at least one more logger run in. They're sending in Collier. Here's the relay to the plate. He's safe.
3-1. Take 1. Got the celly. 3 hands. Yep, 3-3.
Just a really nice piece of hitting there from Ickes going the opposite way. He saw the gap between Duarte and Voss and just drove it out there, hit it as hard as he can. And now a 6-run lead, and now I'd imagine that Duluth's got to start thinking about pulling Barrera here and getting somebody up. Again, they don't have anybody throwing yet. They're starting to stretch down there, but this is going to be a little bit of delayed tactic because they need to stop the bleeding at the moment.
As Jake Pashby out at the mound. And up and down this lineup, both of these lineups have been just great all year long, but especially today for La Crosse. That was the 9-hole hitter, Elijah Ickes, coming through with a big double to really lengthen this lead.
It's a really well-driven ball, as you can see there. I mean, this Loggers team, sometimes a team has your number, and I get that Duluth has a better overall record and whatnot than La Crosse, but I mean, La Crosse, in the 8 games they played against each other, hit 267 compared to Duluth hitting 222. They had 73 runs compared to 54 for Duluth. The ERA for Duluth is 8.01 in the 8 games that they played against La Crosse. So they just seem to kind of have the number so far, and it's showing itself here today in Game 1 of this series.
Now you got the top of the order in R.J. Hamilton. Duluth ranked 7th overall in earned run average this year as a team. 1-0. In the dirt.
Both those runs were earned despite that errant throw from Elvis for those who were scoring at home. So runs earned at this point in this inning.
Well, La Crosse came into this game as the second half champions, and they did not have a great second half. They were 10 and 22, and they were really reeling coming into this series, but it's amazing what a clean slate can do for a team, because they have come out clicking on all cylinders right now, and not only do they have a lead, they have Cassius Thomas on the mound that has been phenomenal all year long, including today.
Well, this is one of the positives, one of the real big benefits of winning the first half, right? Is that when the first half ends, you win it, you say, okay, I can get my rotation set, right? I can get who I know is going to be starting lineup of day one. Oh, hey, you need to go back home for a little bit, go home, come back, come play, and off you go. So that is why winning the first half, in theory, should be a huge advantage. It isn't always, but you can see sort of why it is here in the early innings of game number one.
The flip side of that is the second half champions get that momentum going into the playoffs.
Right.
Maybe not being able to plan as much for the playoffs and setting up your rotation as you want. Hamilton hits a hard hit ball into center field. It is down. This is another RBI as it gets past Duarte out to center. Hamilton can fly. He's headed towards third and is in with plenty of time. And it's 7-1 Lacrosse.
And Duarte overran that, and it kind of took a funky hop. Again, it's all natural grass out there in center field, and you're right. I mean, the second that gets past him, Hamilton's probably not only thinking three, he's thinking, can I get home on this play? And another run, and now, you know, this game is not over by any means, but I think the thought of how you're going to play game 2 and 3 starts to creep into your head, especially if Lacrosse scores any more here.
Here's Sanderson. Chance to do more damage. There's one more look at it. He really got a hold of this ball. It was going to be an RBI either way, but now he sets up an RBI opportunity for a dangerous hitter, and Sanderson with that ball getting behind Duarte.
Base on left, ready 4. Take 4.
Now it's evens 1-1. Sanderson, there's, you see, top of the league in OPS.
Take 2, ready 1.
And a lot of
Take 1.
advanced metrics said that is the best metric for measuring hitters.
3, take 3.
You'll never come up with a metric that's perfect, but OPS is really just universally the one that really measures a hitter's quality, and this is the reason why. 103 miles an hour off the bat back in the second, but here he rolls over one to Cole, and that'll end the inning. But Lacrosse continues to pour on, and here from Copeland Park, they now lead by 6, headed to the 4th inning on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
5, 4, I'll count you out.
3, 2, and 1. We're good on us. Clear for 2.
We're clear for 2.
4, 3, 2,
and 1. We are live.
4, 5, and 6 due up for Duluth as we move to the 4th inning here in game 1 of a 3-game series. And both of these teams, the way they manage this game going forward is going to be fascinating, because for Lacrosse, you have Cassius Thomas, who's probably your best starter on the mound, pitching what is a really good outing. But do you want to save him for a later round, or do you want to just ride him to the end and guarantee yourself, not guarantee yourself, but give yourself a better chance of winning today? Is Hamilton over into the gap, but it's Anderson making the play. There's one away.
Yeah, it is an interesting conversation, because as the playoffs move on, you kind of think about those games ahead, and this series is not over by any means, right? Duluth plays, we've talked about they've struggled a little bit at home, but I'm sure they'll be up for the task tomorrow. And now the question is Thomas, right? He just threw pitch number 50, so in theory now he's got to wait a minimum of 2 days of rest. So in theory he would not be ready until Wednesday to pitch at this point. So my guess is Thomas is probably, he knows this is his last start, so coaches for Lacrosse are going to let him roll as long as he can here today.
Here's Joe Voss. Misses low.
But if he was going to be around, it's a good point, Mickey. If he was going to be around, they might have said to him there, said, hey, you only thrown 49. Heck, we could throw you tomorrow if you wanted to, because you're under that 50 pitch mark, which is the first level of days of rest that you need, that you hit in the game. So interesting how they manage it, but it looks like they're going to just ride him as long as possible.
In this theoretical situation, I don't know if I'd pitch him tomorrow, maybe in game 3, so a day of rest. 50 pitches is nothing to scoff at.
Oh, okay.
2 balls and a strike. Voss blitzes it to left field. Sanderson back, and he makes a nice running catch just shy of the warning track.
Take 4, does that make sense?
I would like to remind you that Summer Collegiate Softball is here. Northwoods League Softball is celebrating its inaugural season this summer. Find out more about Northwoods League Softball at northwoodsleague.com and follow us on Twitter at NWL. Softball.
What they're trying to do. Ready for it. Take 4.
A pair of F7s to not an F7. The first one was an F9. A pair of outfield flyouts to open up this inning. Here's Palmer.
I'll say take, but like I'm kind
Sometimes
of debating
it gets a little
whether I wanna
jumbled
take
up.
it or not. So once I say take 4, like I'll actually take the camera.
Thomas has another really nice start to an inning. And he's been pounding that strike zone. That's always key. You have to throw strikes here in the Northwoods League. And not only that, throwing strikes makes you a really good starter, but what separates the good from the great starters is you need to be able to throw quality strikes, and that's what Thomas has done.
Yeah, he's got a 56.8% first pitch strike percentage on the season, which is a pretty solid number for him, right? Anytime you get over 50, but when you're approaching 60, that's usually in a really good spot. You don't always have to throw it, right? You can try to get those swings and misses, certainly.
Another chance for Mitchell. Tough play, but he makes it, and that'll end the inning. Wow, 1, 2, 3 go the Huskies, and Thomas continues to get his way through this order with efficiency. We're headed to the bottom of the 4th, 7-1 Loggers on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
We are clear.
Can be easy.
1.
Across Wisconsin on the banks of the Mississippi.
No, it's not.
As we continue to game 1 of this playoff series, and the Loggers are feeling good about themselves. A 7-1 lead right now, and they have gotten the Duluth starter out of the game. The new pitcher is Matt Juza out of St. Scholastica. Spent last year with Thunder Bay, now is making his 12th appearance of the year for Duluth. There's a ground ball up the middle, hit by Anderson, and it finds its way into center field. Fairchild just got his glove on it.
Lower third.
Couldn't quite get enough.
3-1. Take 1, go ahead.
And the hitting continues. 8th hit there for the Loggers in this game. And I'll just give you the quick final line on Barrera. 3 innings, 7 hits, 7 runs, all earned, 3 walks and a strikeout, 77 pitches.
3-2.
20 strikeouts to 11 walks for Juza on the year. 6.23 earned run average.
3-4. Take 4.
It's Tyler Smith. It's the ball.
No milk today.
No milk today, yeah, it's big time. And clear.
Cross has their 7 runs on 8 hits and 1 error.
Tyler. I know, it's a joke.
Duluth has their 1 run on 3 hits, and they have also committed an error today.
The chosen one, see?
Anderson's off first. Smith out of St. Peter's.
3-1. Take 1.
Foul tips it into the glove, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Well, that scoreboard out there updates so quickly that sometimes I lose track of what count it is.
We're on top of it here in lacrosse.
Love it.
2, 3-1.
That's a nice backhand stop by Elvis.
Take 1.
We're talking about Juza here in between innings. He's from Rice Lake, where again plays at St. Scholastica, but obviously Isaac Rohde, who's one of the better pitchers on this Duluth team, is from there, and the Big Rivers, where Rice Lake, the conference that they're located in western Wisconsin, well represented in the Northwoods League this year. And there was, I think, 5 different schools from the Big Rivers represented by the Express. You got Rice Lake here as well. And I think there may be one other that's represented by another Northwoods League school too. So a lot of western Wisconsin high school talent. Kind of fun to see that they are making their name heard in this part of the Northwoods League.
Anderson was caught about a quarter of the way towards second and then decided to pull up. He might have had second base stolen by a mile, or he might have been in a rundown, so who knows.
He's almost halfway, it looked like. That was wild. He just kind of stopped, and it was like he didn't know what to do.
Well, it doesn't matter. Smith just walked, and then there's first and second with nobody out.
Well, this is one where, it's a 7-1 lead, and, you're not going to let up. This is playoff baseball, and we see sometimes those big leads where, teams will stop sending their runners and, stealing bases. But when you're in the playoffs, kind of all bets are off. You're just going for it. And so don't be surprised if lacrosse keeps putting their foot on the gas pedal here to make sure they come away with this first game.
This is Kucherak. If we're in the 7th or the 8th inning, then maybe, yeah. But it's still only the 4th inning. You can really continue to be aggressive if you're lacrosse. Something that they have done all year long. 3rd in the league in stolen bases.
24.
This lacrosse pitching staff has over a 6 ERA as a team, so you don't know what's going to happen once you get past Thomas with this bullpen. That's been part of the struggles in the second half for them. So they need to build up as big of a lead as they can before he comes out.
That gets behind Elvis. He can't find it. He finally does, but both runners move up. Now 2nd and 3rd with still nobody out. And Kucherak at the plate. He's 1 for 2 with a single back in the 1st. He entered today 3 for his last 31. A more than capable hitter. He's out of Northwestern. And hitters count here. Marcus Pointer trying to get this team through game 1.
Yeah, you know, it's a little surprising. I think, you know, they didn't have to win both games against Rochester, but you know, they were up against it. The Huskies were this last week, and so they really had to kind of put their foot down. They didn't know what was going to happen with Eau Claire right up in Thunder Bay, and they had to win some games, and the lacrosse team is putting it on them right now.
Well, there's another RBI. Kucherak has driven in another. Smith is held at 3rd, but it's 8-1 lacrosse now. It's just another ball that was hit on the screws, and this crowd is loving it.
They've become accustomed to seeing good baseball here again. This lacrosse team made the playoffs last year. They felt like there's unfinished business. There's a couple guys back from last year that wanted to make another playoff run, especially with how they got walked off on against St. Cloud in the Great Plains Championship. So they might be this team on a mission kind of thing, saying, hey, we were just gearing up for this playoff. So this is where we were putting all our chips, and they're showing off why with all these base hits, as you see that one ripped into left from Kucherak.
This rolls it foul. This is the first time lacrosse has made back-to-back playoff appearances in their team's history.
You want to correct them after this break, or?
Yeah, unfinished business. They got walked off 9-8 last year against St. Cloud. That just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Wada strikes out swinging. A fastball from Juza. One away. That's his first strikeout.
Yeah, whereas Duluth, is a team that has had a lot of opportunities. They've gotten deep into the playoffs a few times. You can even go back to their first time in the playoffs in 2004. But they basically are 0 for 4 in championship games or championship series, and just have not been able to get the winner. This Loggers team won it back in 2012, and again, this is one where Duluth has just been knocking on the door a lot since about 2018. Just haven't quite gotten over the hump.
Mitchell way out in front.
Stay on 2.
That's tough as a team. You just can't quite overcome it.
It is interesting. This is the 5th year of the 4 divisions in the Northwoods League, right? The Great Plains West and East, and I'll continue that thought in a second.
High bounding ball, a sliding attempt by Fairchild. That would have been a weird hop either way. But another run comes in off an infield single from Gable Mitchell.
Yeah, they're pouring it on now, and again, this is just becoming one of those tough games for Duluth. Again, 9-1, I don't think you necessarily throw up the white flag. There's still a lot of time left, and we've seen a lot of really big, crooked numbers throughout the course of this season. But, I mean, these Lager fans are loving it, and Duluth's got to start thinking, I think, about how they want to manage this, because they're going to have all those chips in tomorrow at Wade Stadium. There's no doubt about that.
Here's Ian Collier, and as you were saying, 5th year of 4 divisions. Now Elvis can't find that, and both runners move up again.
Yeah, 5th year of the division of the 4 division system, and in the Great Plains East, it's been a different team every year getting to the Great Plains Championship game. 2019 it was Eau Claire, 2021 it was Waterloo, then in 2022 it was Duluth, and in 2023 last year it was lacrosse. So kind of interesting there, and obviously it's going to be a second trip for one of these 2 teams since that change.
For your batter?
At some point it had to be somebody the same.
Right. Well, and these 2 teams have been there a lot, right? Like we said, Duluth has been really good recently, and of course lacrosse had so many great players. You almost scratch your head as to why they haven't gotten further in the playoffs more often with the rosters that they've had.
as we were talking about earlier, it's anything can happen in these 3-game series or 1-game series, that depending on what the playoff format is any given year. It's such a sport that you get a couple of bounces your way and suddenly you're in the championship game. Collier takes strike 1. 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, and for Duluth, it's got to be, all right, you know what? If La Crosse wins this game, they're supposed to win at home, right? We're supposed to win at home, so we'll win 2 in a row at home, and off we go, right? You kind of have to reset mentally. And again, this game's not over, but that will have to be the mindset if they can't turn this around.
So now Collier draws the walk, and they're loaded with only 1 out.
Take 1.
This is a situation where you probably just got to throw strikes.
All right, guys, ready? 3.
Your Juzic. Can't worry about any contact. And that might be what Jake Pashby will be saying to him on this mound visit.
4. Take 4.
He's on his way to the mound.
1. Can you show me the bullpen?
Hey, the Northwoods League is proud to partner with the authentic Stadium Mustard this season. For over 50 years, Stadium Mustard has been offered at stadiums, ballparks, and arenas from coast to coast. The Rochester, or the La Crosse Loggers, are proud to be serving Stadium Mustard right here at Copeland Park. Loved by millions, Stadium Mustard.
Well, Rochester and Eau Claire and everywhere else are very proud to be serving it as well. You speak of those other teams and those other games. Right now, it's a bit of a big lead for St. Cloud in their contest against Wilmer. They're up 10-3 at home. Now, again, Wilmer has home field. They'll be at Bill Taunton Stadium tomorrow and the next day if necessary. Madison and Wausau have no score, bottom of the 2nd, and it's already a 5-2 Kalamazoo leading Kalamazoo on Rockford. And they're only in the bottom of the 2nd inning, so already we've seen some high scorers across these playoffs.
That's slapped out to right. Voss ranges back. He's at the track. He reaches up and makes the play. Tagging and scoring is Kucherak, and it's 10-1. So Ekis drives in the run on the sac fly, and they've gotten some great production out of him. He has 3 RBIs today.
Take 3.
Yeah, you'll take anything you can get now, right? Just keep adding to the lead. And, I mean, they've scored in every inning so far, and Louis is pretty excited about it as well. 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 in the third, and now another 3, and they're not done yet here in the 4th inning. And Duluth, I think, mentally just needs to see a 0 go up on the board here in the 5th. They need something to go right defensively when they go back out with their gloves in that bottom of the 5th.
Here's R.J. Hamilton. He rolls it over to the left side. Fairchild short way to second, and that'll finally put an end to things here in the 4th. As you mentioned, they've scored in every inning so far, and they've scored 3 times in an inning 3 times now. La Crosse leads big on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
3, 2, and 1.
Hold it 4. Clear for 2 minutes. Good shit, guys.
4,
Just in case.
3, 2,
2 and 1.
you're back.
I'm on the wireless right now.
Duluth trailing big as now we move to the 5th inning. It is a 9-run La Crosse lead, rather. 10-1. They have scored 3 runs in the last 2 innings, in each of the last 2 innings, and still on the mound is Thomas. He has been just phenomenal today. 1-2-3 inning in the 4th. The only hit that he's given up was back in the 3rd.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see, again, how teams respond. And again, like I said, this game's not over, and Duluth certainly has the offense where they can make this a game. You know, I feel like I've seen more leads evaporate by teams this season than maybe I've seen in all seasons past combined that I've been involved with the Northwoods League. But Thomas is pitching well. For Duluth right now, I think their goal needs to be, let's take a lot of pitches. Let's try to get his pitch count up. Because once Thomas comes out, they're probably going to think new life, right? Like, if they have 3 innings to work with against new pitchers, they might feel like they can get back into it. So their job has to be, how do we run the pitch count up on Thomas as best as possible? Because that was pitch number 59 of the outing.
Well, the fans are doing a pretty good job.
1-0 now to Fairchild.
3-1.
He fouls that off. That's going to be a tall task because he has been just electric and efficient. He's been throwing quality strikes and inducing soft contact.
Hard to do with a guy who's throwing strikes, right? I mean, it's just, it really is. And you almost have to take a couple, you have to take 2 strikes, right, to get to that point. So we'll see how Duluth can manage this here.
He was using my belt.
2 balls and a strike.
And not to say, you know, again, this game is over by any means, but I think a real big turning point is that 3rd inning when Duluth had a chance to put up a crooked number and they ran into some outs
in that inning, and it really took them out of it. And then look how Lacrosse has responded with 6 runs since that point. That's pretty impressive
that ball
there from what Lacrosse has done after Duluth kind of ran themselves out of that third inning.
When you talk about the butterfly,
No, I had a good angle.
Who knows how you feel going into that next inning after that?
He didn't have a grab on it.
Gotcha.
He like had a mitt on it and
2-2.
then pulled his mitt back.
Yeah.
So
Buzzed him.
he was close.
It's out of the way though.
Anyway,
Still getting a good rep.
Thomas has thrown 4 innings, giving up those 3 hits, not just one.
I love
It's
that the
been
coach
3.
did it.
That was our first 96-mile-an-hour fastball there from Thomas as well. That would have hit by pitch.
That's Foul tips it into Collier's glove. The third strikeout of the game for Thomas.
And that's that one pitch that he's mixed in now. That it's almost like a cut. He calls it a slider, but that was 88 miles an hour, and he finally kind of moves that just a little bit. And that kind of movement so late is so hard to catch up to, especially when it's coming in at 88 in this league. I mean, you see some guys who are throwing their fastball at 88, much less their slider slash cutter.
And then you double that with Thomas.
There's Downing.
Need to do this, guys.
I would correct you. That was the second strikeout for Thomas. Get the scoreboard updates quick here.
Which you know it's.
What beer are you on?
No, now
I'm still on
Downing.
2, the second tall boy.
Oh.
So I got a pay
Singled back or doubled back in the third.
You feeling some yet?
Later came around to score after stealing a base.
I'm just trying to save my
How
voice
Paulie
for the
Mustang.
7th inning stretch, and then
Oh, you're gonna sing?
yeah. And I got to heckle, you know. I got to heckle in the late innings. See,
Yeah, I heard you heckle out there.
some people.
Catcher,
One
stick
of the most famous names in sports who played baseball at Cal
No, 'cause
Poly.
that's the
It's
thing,
not
it's
known
like
for
heckling. It's just an
baseball.
art
Do you know who it
form.
is?
You know,
John Madsen.
There you go.
Because you know you're right at the start of the
He's known
game.
for
Everybody's
video.
already jazzed up. You know, so you gotta like.
That's all he did in his
You
career.
hit him with a couple
It
right
is
away.
video
Pepper
games.
that in there. And as the game goes on, people are getting more tired.
Thomas finds the zone.
Depending on the game, you
I feel
know.
like these guys get along together.
Like right now, it's
Cal
blow
Poly FCS football program.
Oh, yeah.
I should have known asking a guy from California.
How are these
You
guys
would know.
doing with the
It's
blowout?
Northern
They're boring?
California.
It
specific.
sounds
Southern
boring.
California. You probably don't know that.
I haven't been in here really.
Well, it is kind of in the middle.
Take one.
Ground ball to the right side. Mitchell
4.
retires it no
Yeah,
problem.
that's great that Cable Mitchell.
2 down.
4. Take 4. 1 times a hero.
That's a big distinction, and especially with where a lot of these players are from the Northwoods League.
You know, I think
There's
part
a
of
ton
it
of
is having
California
those two guys in house.
representation.
It's also a little bit.
And it really depends. A lot of the
in regards
pipelines
to
are
their-
set up towards Northern California. A lot of them are set up towards Southern California.
Yeah, that's what it says.
It just depends from team to team. And I don't think a lot of people understand that California almost can be separated into 2 states. You got the
Well,
Northern
their
California side,
voices are
San
very
Francisco,
similar,
Sacramento,
and they
Central
talk very
Valley,
similar. To me, they're boring. Like
LA and San Diego and the Southern
Like
California
you,
side.
at least,
Well,
you have a
and
deeper
we're at the point in
voice.
the season
but then
where a
you-
lot of the
you go
Northwoods
up and
League is
down a
represented
much
by
higher
guys from
range
schools in California
than they
because
do.
of the quarter or the trimester
They're
system that they're on. I mean, these guys don't
like,
have classes that
dude,
pick
let's
up to
talk about,
what,
like,
second,
college
third,
and how,
fourth
like,
week
how,
of
like,
September,
these
so
things in
they can
college.
be here at this point in the game. So
And,
that's why you see a lot of Stanford, Cal Poly, right,
That's
and a
how it
lot
was in
of
college.
California
You know, like the
representation. at this point.
74 beers that we had. Remember the
Elvis
guy that had
swings and
64.7
misses.
beers? Yeah, he was pretty awesome. I don't know how.
I never
Cam
understood
suffered.
why that is. California starting later.
Very
Is it because
monotonous.
they want more summer out here
Maybe.
in school?
Maybe.
More warmer
See?
weather.
They got plenty of
Yeah.
summer there in California
Right.
to deal with, right? So they, you might be right.
Take 2. Ready 1.
0-2.
Take 1.
Elvis on the ground. Ekis up with it,
Last
and
out.
that'll end the inning.
4.
9-run Loggers lead, and they are riding Cassius Thomas right now. He has been stellar. On to the bottom of the fifth. This is the Northwoods League Sports
Is that a
Network.
word you use? Stellar?
I probably use that.
Catch off.
1. That is live.
Bottom of the fifth we go. Lacrosse up big here in game 1 between Duluth and Lacrosse. The Great Plains division winners in this one. The first half champion Loggers and the second half champions Duluth Huskies. So it'll be 2, 3, and 4 due up. Sanderson, Anderson, and Smith for Lacrosse.
Ready 1.
Lead by 9, and it has been just an offensive outburst from this team.
Ready 1.
They have scored in every inning so far.
You got it?
This is down and away.
Yeah.
Juza back out for another
Should we
inning
keep
of
showing
work.
it, or? I mean, they
10
scored a
runs,
lot
10
of
hits,
runs,
1
so
error
why
for the
not?
Loggers, 1 run,
Go ahead.
3 hits, and 1 error for the Huskies. Here's take a look at Sanderson's home run back in the second. This was 103 miles an hour
Call
off
that.
the bat.
Ready,
It
one.
went 400 feet.
4.
Take 4. Should we tag him?
Yeah, this is the first park that I've heard announce how far it's gone as well. You know, we have all that on TrackMan, but not everybody announces that. I kind of like that. I want to pick that up for next year.
That's so funny. Not everybody announces that.
He draws the walk.
Cooper does.
Take 4.
Every time.
You're only allowed to announce it if it's a exponential distance.
It's really good, right?
Yeah. None of this 365 things.
Well, again, folks, we want to remind you that Women's Summer Collegiate Softball is here. Northwoods League Softball celebrated its inaugural season this summer. Again, you want to find out more about Northwoods League Softball, go to northwoodsleague.com and follow us on Twitter at NWL Softball. This is, again, a great spot to go check out season number 2 next year and find out all the info about Summer Collegiate Softball, which, of course, I know a lot about down here in La Crosse with the Steam having played this last year. As it looked like Donald Say took a shot back there behind the plate. Hopefully he's all right.
He is tall. But he's really sweet.
You can see the remnants of the softball field in between the pitcher's mound and home plate.
Do you want to show the softball circle?
The circle.
Green one.
They didn't take out the pitcher's mound, though.
Take 1.
Yeah. No, it's kind of interesting how everybody had to set it up. And
You want to zoom out?
yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that again next year. It'll be fun to see. I'm sure there'll be improvements and additions and a lot of fun in 2025.
And we will dissolve 2. What do you want?
This is Anderson. It's a ball.
I
It's
just
one
thought it would
ball
be a
and a
hard
strike.
cut. You know what I mean?
You're doing a really good job.
Yeah, you're doing a job.
Anderson
Yeah,
at
we're
first has
working
been
as a team. I mean,
just phenomenal.
replay stuff, Matt calling
In this
out
game
replays,
and all
like,
year long. As the homer,
yeah,
as a
so
walk.
happy. 3-1, take 1.
And now he'll trot down to second on a wild pitch.
3-3, 3-4.
Yeah, this Loggers team set a team record for the most runs in a season in their history. And, I mean, he's picking right up with it. He came in with 48 regular season runs, and he's got a chance to make it now 51 if you add in these postseason runs with the 2 that he's already scored. And now he's in scoring position.
And this is for Luke Anderson, who has a pair of hits today, but there he swings and misses.
Stay on 2, ready 1.
You know, and I haven't looked around the league, Mickey, but you know, being with the Express set a record for the most runs scored in a season this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case across the league.
That's tagged towards center. Duarte back, and he watches it kick off the wall.
It be
It caroms away from him. Well, Anderson held it first, but Sanderson rounds third and comes in to score. And now it is a 10-run Loggers lead in Game 1.
Take 3.
Yeah, and I don't think that was a case of Anderson holding up because it's a big lead. I think he just got a bad read. I'm not sure if he thought that ball was out of here or if it was going to be caught or what the case was, but just kind of got caught in between. I'm not sure if he maybe tripped going around first or what the case was, but just ends up being a long single in there.
If you're going to make a base running mistake at this point in the game, if you're lacrosse, that's probably the one that you want to make.
As long as it doesn't result in an out, I think you're all right with it.
There's Tyler Smith. He hit the 3-run homer to really set the tone in this game in the first.
31. Go ahead.
There's a strike. There's one more look at it. He was running out of the box, too.
Yeah, a little bit of a slip out of the box. It took a weird bounce there off the base of the wall, too.
31. Take 1.
You don't know if that's one of the situations where he might have thought it was a homer. Sutherland puts away out number 1.
4. Take 4.
Might have thought it was a homer and, you know, do a little celebration out of the box, but that was not the case.
3.
Yeah, I mean, Loggers are in good shape right now, right? They just kind of have to just get outs and not have to worry about too much here as this game moves on. And again, I'm sure both coaches, knowing how coaches think, they're probably already thinking about who we start tomorrow, what's the situation going to be, just because you have to set up for it, right? I mean, especially if you're Duluth, it's going to be all hands on
Tyler
deck
did a great job.
up at Wade Stadium tomorrow.
Tyler did a very good job.
Kucherov 2 for 3 today with an RBI single in the fourth.
That's all I could ask.
Now we'll be up there, driving up north, and now Anderson off towards second.
And recording bases, or
Gets it in without a throw.
And balls.
And now you make up for not getting the second on the base hit, so it ends up working out in the end.
He was
Probably
learning.
looking at Josh Fry.
Learning the concept.
There, I did it. Kucherov grounds it to the right side. Well, that's a big stolen base now because it wiped it out. The double play possibilities. Downing takes care of out number 2.
Well, that's a great point that you make because that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of coaches and GMs in this league like to build their teams with speed is for that reason, is you take your team out of double plays, especially if you got a lot of home run guys who might roll over some balls, you know, and maybe aren't that speedy on the base paths. That's why you want your team to be speedy in this league.
When you think about the adjustment from metal to wood, and Wallace takes a strike,
it's not ready
But
yet.
that's such an adjustment. The sweet spot on the wood bat is a lot smaller. It's harder to find barrels, and it's an adjustment period that a lot of these guys go through. Speed is something that you don't have to adjust to this league. That finds the seats.
3-3.
And it also gives you that flexibility when guys are still trying to figure out that wood bat. But at this point in the season, everybody has. We've seen the power numbers go up as the season goes on, which is typically how it goes.
Good push. Take 2. Where you want?
Wada strikes out swinging,
Take 4.
and that'll put an end to the 5th. But
Take 1.
Lacrosse still has not been shut out in an inning. They lead by 10, headed to the 6th on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
5, 4. All cameras are clear. 2 and 1. We're good on our end.
Clear 2 minutes.
Right there. Clear for 2.
Cassius Thomas returns to work for the 6th here on the Northwoods League Sports Network. It is an 11-1 Lacrosse lead here headed into the final stages of this game. Good crowd here at Copeland Park for playoff game number 1. And this crowd has been fun, and they've been given a lot to cheer about today.
Yeah, they have. I mean, this lacrosse squad, I mean, lacrosse in general, they tend to be in the top 5 in the league, and attendance every year. They're always going to have a great crowd. They get into it. They get on you as a visiting team, and I'm not sure this team needed them today with the way it's gone so far, but they might later. Again, I never really think a lead is safe in this league, especially with some of the bullpens. But if Thomas can keep throwing the way that he is, he might be able to go even longer and keep this lead at where it's at.
It's 1, 2, and 3 due up for Duluth in this inning, starting with Thibodeau. He's so far today 1 for 2. And Cassius Thomas has, I wish I could say he's been a big part with how well he's thrown, but I mean, it would be hard for a pitcher not to be doing well with this kind of lead.
And now, this is now the 3rd time through the lineup. And that 2nd time through, he started to work in his secondary pitches. He's definitely getting to those now, starting to throw some of the off-speed stuff. And these guys are probably sitting fastball with how many they've seen so far.
Thibodeau strikes out on a fastball, 94 miles an hour in. There's one away. Well, this gives us a chance to take a look at the bracket and how things stand up here in the Northwoods League playoffs. There's a couple of games going on outside of this, but that's how it stood coming into today. Yeah,
Kalamazoo up 6-2 on Rockford. Madison and Wausau is the big one there. Again, those are the 2 best records in the league coming in. Wausau's up 3-0 in Madison, which is interesting score there. And then a 10-7 lead right now for St. Cloud over Wilmer. Wilmer making a little push for a comeback there in the top of the 8th at Joe Faber Field. Again, you never count out a team in this league, especially a team like the Stingers there against St. Cloud.
St. Cloud has been able to pitch this year. So that lead still not safe, but the Rock's chances of holding it up there in the 8th inning are probably a little bit higher than what might be with a couple of other teams.
Yeah, it always seems like winter they aren't able to pitch. I mean, they've always got really good pitchers and guys who just, again, same thing that we've seen from Thomas. They throw a lot of strikes, they miss a lot of barrels and create weak contact, and they figure out how to go 7 innings. I think that, if the really good teams get their pitchers into the mindset of how do I go 7 innings in the Northwoods League, which means keeping your pitch count down, throwing early strikes. If you do that well, I mean, you can be really, really successful in this league really quickly.
Duarte ahead, 2 balls and 1 strike, and now it's 3 balls. Yeah, pitching is probably the most fascinating aspect of this league, and just how many teams there are and how many pitchers there are to go around. It's always so fascinating to see how they're deployed, what their mentality is. Whoa, Duarte took a mighty hack and missed everything. It's full now.
You cannot hit a 10-run home run, I think, still in the game of baseball. I could be wrong. But he's trying to, right? I mean, he's trying to just spark this team in some way.
Reaches for it and tips it foul. Here's one more look. He saw a pitch that he liked, and whew.
Oh, yeah.
Just the over-rotation, that's what'll get you. Payoff pitch.
That's flown foul. You talk about properly deploying your pitches and pitching well in the Northwoods League. Well, Cassius Thomas has done it. He's a guy that has done it all year long here at La Crosse. Entered today with a 3.28 earned run average, and that's going down right now. But Coach Josh Fry told me he always has a smile on his face, and he knows when those intense moments are. Ickes up with it, and there's 2 away. But he knows when those intense moments are. He knows when to lock in and really focus on pitching, and on his off days, he's able to really have a lot of fun. And he's a high-energy clubhouse guy, we were told by Josh Fry. And he's also said that if this game came down to it, and he found himself in a situation where there were a couple of runners on base and perhaps a bit of a closer game, he trusts him to be on that longer leash. Here's Charlie Sutherland. So having a guy like that is just so valuable, that can eat a ton of innings for you. Sutherland is 1 for 2 in this game. There he takes a strike.
Yeah, it's not unlike Major League Baseball, right? I mean, you get into the World Series, and guess what happens, right? Who's got the best pitcher? I mean, that's what you end up talking about a lot, and that ends up happening in the Northwoods League in the playoffs. You get a guy who can throw like Thomas has done today, and it's the great equalizer. It doesn't matter what's going on the other lineup. You can subdue a lot of really good bats in this league if you got the right guy on the mound.
You go to softball, and it's even more, more relevant. There's a high fly ball to Sanderson. Out and left. Lazily makes the play, and that'll end the inning. So 6 strong innings here for Thomas. He heads back to that dugout, perhaps coming out for the 7th. We'll see on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
This is Northwoods League Baseball.
2 and 1. One's up.
Downtown La Crosse here on a beautiful Sunday evening here in the Northwoods League, and those Loggers are up big time. It is 11-1. The Loggers lead, and they have a chance to add on more. 7, 8, and 9 due up, and don't just think the bottom of the order is just going to roll over and it's going to be easy to get through, because these guys have been productive today. Gable Mitchell leads off the inning, 1 for 2 with a walk and an RBI single.
I'm still looking for that inning where the Loggers put up a 0. They haven't put up a 0 yet, and Duluth needs it to happen if they want any chance to come back here. It's already out of hand, but they don't need to get it any more out of hand than it already is.
Slow roller to Downing, up with it, and there's 1 away.
Hey, are you a baseball or softball coach? Well, one-way coach-to-catcher communication is brand new to the game, and the Northwoods League is proudly partnered with the Headset app to be their preferred coach-to-catcher communication solution. Try it out with your team today using hardware you already own. Download the Headset app from your app store and try it free for 5 days.
Here's Ian Collier to the plate for the 4th time today. This is already the 4th time through the order, and we're in the 6th inning. The right-hand side, the home-hand side of the book is just scribble marks all over the place.
You need a new pen at the end of the day.
A lot of ink has been used.
Take 3, let's tag. Coming in.
Collier is 1 for 2, a walk and a single. Feels like everybody's line right now.
Tag
1 for 2 with some sort of walk.
Take 2, ready 1. Take 1.
Rips it to the left side, another base hit for him.
Ready 4. Take 4.
If this lineup keeps hitting the way they are today, and I don't think we have the starters yet for tomorrow, we may have those here by the end of the game to know kind of who's going. But if they keep hitting like this, it's going to be tough for Duluth, right? I mean, they need somebody to step up at some point on the mound, and maybe it won't be in this game. Somebody to step up and shut down these bats, because this has been really impressive what they've done early on.
Well, Ickes flips 1 to center, and it is down. It's down in front of Duarte in center. Made the diving attempt, trapped it against his glove.
It looked like he got kind of in between with which way he wanted to turn his glove there. He went for the kind of, webbing down there with his arm kind of up, and maybe should have turned the glove over, but just couldn't quite find the right way to get that ball. But that was a tough one, and it's another one. Do you want it to get by you and then turn this into a big inning for La Crosse?
And here's the top of the order, R.J. Hamilton. Here's one more look at it.
Good shit.
As you mentioned, kind of went for the basket.
Oh my God. Yeah, we can see
catch for it, underhand, and he's very lucky that didn't get behind him.
He caught it with the shin there as he was coming through. Yeah, he's, like you say, he's lucky. He knocked that down.
3-3, take 3.
Hamilton ahead, 2 balls and no strikes.
See Juza dropping down to that kind of sidearm, almost 3/4 angle. I think he's just trying to throw a different look to Lacrosse.
Take 4.
Something to throw him off a little bit, yeah.
Take 2, where you want?
The only inning that Hamilton has not come to the plate in was the 5th. Hit by a pitch in the 1st, flew out in the 2nd, tripled in the 3rd, hit into a fielder's choice in the 4th.
If he reaches base,
3-0, called strike.
Well, if you're a Duluth fan and you want some hope, you know, St. Cloud was up 10-3 going into the 8th inning against Wilmer, and Wilmer's put up 6 runs in the top of the 8th, and he got the bases loaded with only 1 out in that 8th inning at the moment. So there could still be hope. These things can change quickly.
Voss over towards the line. He makes the play. A bluff from Collier, but wisely not headed towards 3rd. There's 2 away.
Show me the guy who caught it. 3-1.
Yeah, it's never out of reach, and again, that's why I think, Mickey, that if Thomas this is his last go basically with the team this season, that he's going to pitch to that 100 pitch mark, right? The way he's pitching, if you're Josh Fry, you're going to basically until he hits the 110 mark against the batter is probably when he's going to be pulled out.
Ready for tag?
Sanderson fouls it off.
Take 4. 1 minute. Yep. 3-3.
Yeah, Matt Juza
3-3, take 3. We'll tag
probably
after
just in
this
mop-up
pitch.
duty at this point.
He's working, ready 2.
Just trying to keep it somewhere within that realm, right, once Thomas comes out.
2, ready 1.
Sanderson has walked twice today, homered, and grounded out.
Take 4, you ready? Yeah. Tags in.
Offensive, fun day if you love offense, and if you love the Loggers. 11 runs, 13 hits, 1 error for Lacrosse. 1 run, 3 hits, and 1 error for Duluth. Chance for a couple more here.
Take 1.
Like we said, I mean, 6-2 against Duluth this season. They'd outscored them 73-54 in those games, and you add on to that, now you're looking at what, 84-55 at this point, and now 8+ games in this series this season.
Seen a lot of each other.
Take 4, ready 2.
There's Luke Anderson on deck.
2, ready 1.
Sanderson pulls it on the ground. Downing up with it, and that'll end the inning.
3. Take 3.
So Lacrosse finally has a 0 on the board in a bottom half of an inning, but they still lead 11-1 on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
Clear for 2. Clear for 2. Clear for 2. 1.
Well, we welcome you back here to Copeland Park. It is an 11-1 Lacrosse Loggers lead over the Duluth Huskies, the second half champions of the Great Plains East. And this gives us a chance to maybe take a look at the weather here on Game Time. In my personal opinion, just a tad too hot right now. I wish there was just a little bit more of a breeze, or we were down 2 or 3 degrees, 75 degrees, 3-mile-an-hour wind. I think for most people this is perfect, though.
You know, Mickey's the kind of guy where, somebody touches the thermostat and he runs into the living room and goes, did somebody touch the thermostat? Oh, we'll take 75 all day, man.
I like sitting in a very cold room and have a hoodie on.
Says the guy from Northern California.
I do.
Well, be ready for Duluth, right? What's the old saying about Duluth, that the coldest winter I ever had was a summer in Duluth? So enjoy it. Be
ready. Is that a saying?
I think someone said that.
Okay.
Was that? I think it was the next president. Now I'm gonna have to look it up. But yeah, it'll be, I'm sure, a little chilly there on Lake Superior, and
you
should be a lot of fun tomorrow.
Yeah, go have a summer in San Francisco.
Right, which is in November, right? They have that weird, like, it's October, November heat wave all the time.
Yeah, sometimes. And then everybody realizes they don't have AC in their houses. Anyway, there's a baseball game happening. Ethan Cole leads off the inning. 4, 5, and 6 for Duluth. He swings and misses. I mean, it's basically Canada up there. Like, you're right on the border. It is cold. I can only imagine what the winters are like. I get Minnesota at the right time. I come up here for the summer, and then I go back down to Missouri. It's pretty nice.
It certainly is. I mean, this is why everybody lives here in Wisconsin, right? Is because of these kind of summers, right? The nice 70 to 80 degree weather, and yeah, absolutely.
It's up and in, 2 balls and a strike.
See that quote was about San Francisco
Yeah,
as I'm looking it up. Yeah.
That's what made
I just
me think
changed
of
it to Duluth. I just wanted to throw you off a little bit.
31.
Cole entered today. Whoa, that hurts.
That's a weird bounce. Ready for.
He fouls it off of his shin.
Yeah, he's not wearing any of those protective shields that the guys wear there a lot of times. And he's a tough dude. He's a guy, goes both ways. He'll pitch as well. A lot for this Duluth squad. He's a real big piece of the second half for Duluth. And, I mean, this time of year, you can't afford a whole lot for injuries. And that's going to leave a mark. That is not going to feel good on the bus ride back.
Just the inside of his shoe. Yikes. Well, it's 2-2 now. He's got to dig back in. He's out of Minnesota, Duluth. Local guy. 0 for 2 today. Way high.
You have some activity in the bullpen there due to the Loggers, a lefty up, so you wonder if I think Lacrosse is just getting ready for Thomas to potentially be done in the 8th. But if he gets into trouble here, maybe bring him in. We'll see how they roll with things.
He almost fouled another one off his shoe. That would have hurt again.
Looked like Grady Gorgon that we saw down there in the pen for the Loggers getting ready.
Thomas at 94 pitches right now. So we'll see how long they let him go. And he skips one in. That is walk number 3 issued today.
I think those are the least competitive pitches we've seen from him, though. So that might be a little bit of an indication that it's time for Gorgon down there to start getting hot in the bullpen, which is what he's doing.
3, show me coach, show me Fry.
So here's Joe Voss.
Take 3.
He's also 0 for 2. I mean, this lineup has been held so quietly today that, pretty much up and down. It's 0-fers.
Tags in.
Cardale Thibodeau had the lone RBI today in the 3rd inning, an RBI single.
Tag out. Good. Take 2. Ready 1.
0-1.
Take 1.
Voss pulls it on the ground. It's gloved by Wada. Steps on first for 1. Throw to second, not in time. Cole went in hard right there. And Kucherak avoided him. Dangerous play right there. You don't want to see anybody get hurt in this situation.
Well, I think Cole is still smarting from that foul ball off his ankle, too. So he the slide was not maybe a typical slide from him. I think he was trying to protect that ankle and kind of went in funny. But, yeah, safe there. And again, I know it's 11-1, but I really wonder what would have happened in that top of the 3rd inning if Duluth hadn't ran into those outs that they did. Remember, they ran into the first out at home and the second out at 3rd on a attempted stolen base. They really took him out of that inning.
There's one more look at the slide. Good play by Wattis. Throw maybe just a little bit away. Kucherak with a really good effort to get glove on it.
3-1.
Hummer waves and misses.
It almost looked like Cole was trying to put his body in the way of a potential throw going down there. I don't know if you remember that replay. I can't remember what year it was when Cole Calhoun turned around on a ball that got past first base and he put his head and got hit in the helmet by the throw coming in towards second. Almost looked like that was kind of what he was trying to do there.
Thomas picks up another strikeout. That's number 4. You got to flail your arms up in the air in that situation. You just throw them up.
Okay,
well, maybe that was strike 2, actually.
Yeah.
Just try to find him. I'll take 1 for pitcher then.
That was pitch number 100 for Thomas.
31.
There, he struck him out. Well,
take 1.
Took him an extra pitch, but that doesn't matter. 2 away.
And again, if you're unfamiliar with the Northwoods League and the rules when it comes to pitch guidelines, when you hit 100, you can't come out for another inning. You finish the inning you're in, but can't come out for another inning. And when you hit 110, you can finish the batter you're on, but can't face another batter. So he's kind of in that middle window. And, you know, if he gets an out on Fairchild, he'll likely be fine. And that'll be a heck of an outing for him here in the playoffs.
Fairchild stands in. He's 0 for 2. Well, either way, he has 6 2/3. Very strong innings. There's a big reason why they are up right now. Here's the action down in the bullpen. Brady Gorgon getting loose. 2-0 now on Fairchild. And then a Cal State Northridge, another California guy.
And good. 3, take 3, 2.
Thomas originally from LA.
Take 2,
I'd love to know what part of LA he's from.
1.
Oh, it's 3-0. So, I mean, the control in this inning, he issued the walk to lead it off. Then some early count swinging from Voss, and then got the strikeout on Palmer. But this is the most, the least command that we've seen from him today, which is saying something. He's still throwing pitches like that.
Even if he walks Fairchild here, he probably can face one more batter with where his pitch count is about to throw 106 on this pitch. So see how Lacrosse wants to handle that if he does end up issuing the walk here.
Fairchild watches ball 4 low. And we'll see if they make a move out towards the mound. Josh Fry is on the top step, and now he goes out. And fans down the left field line don't love it.
Well, he hasn't made the motion to the bullpen yet, so I think he may just want to talk about how he wants to approach Jake Downing. And remember, Downing got that double off of him in the third. So I'm sure Thomas is telling Coach, don't take me out. I want to get one more out here.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he did.
Yeah. One of those famous moments in Major League Baseball, 1991, when Jack Morris went that 10 innings in Game 7. And Tom Kelly went out. I think it was either in the 8th or 9th inning, and gave him the look. And Jack Morris, when they interviewed him afterwards, said he gave me the look like he was taking me out. And he goes, I looked at him and said, "There's no way you're taking me out." And they just said that they wanted to talk about the approach on a batter. So Thomas is going to get one more batter here, it looks like, in this outing.
Right. They just wanted to talk about the approach on the batter.
Exactly.
Here's Downing, 8-hole hitter for Duluth. Thomas's first pitch is grounded to the right side, but it's foul.
It's fun to watch runs and home runs and all that kind of stuff, Mickey, but I don't know about you, but when you see a good pitching performance from a neutral standpoint, you just got to sit back and enjoy it, because it is fun to watch, isn't it, with just how good Thomas has been here today.
I think Duluth fans might disagree with you there.
They very much may.
Downing rips it down the right field line. Fair or foul? It's fair, and down into the corner. It's dug out by Anderson. Cole scores. Fairchild waved around third. No relay throw. Sliding into third safely is Downing. And Duluth has 2 more runs.
There you go, better. 3, take 3.
He just placed that perfectly down the right field line, bouncing just fair.
One that's still hot.
And Cree Wallen, the right field line umpire, right there to see it.
And now it looks like they are going to make the move, and just a nice piece of hitting. And Downing has easily had the best stuff against Thomas, but Thomas is going to get the round of applause that he definitely deserves here today.
This is one of the loudest, some of the loudest crowd noise that we've heard all day long, which is saying something. They've had a lot to cheer about. And take a listen.
Remember, it's emotional for these guys too. It's probably his last outing, and this is a summer he's never going to forget.
Just a great summer for Cassius Thomas, who comes out of what could be his final game here in Lacrosse, having gone 6 2/3 and given up just 3 runs. So might give us a chance to take a look around the out-of-town scoreboard right now.
Yeah, as we wait for the new pitcher to start warming up here. How about this? Wilmer come back from a 10 12-3 deficit to take a 12-10 lead into the bottom of the 8th inning on St. Cloud. They just are starting the bottom of the 8th there. Nobody on yet, nobody out for the Rocks in that one. Again, St. Cloud playing at home in that game, so I mean they need to get a win, because if you know anything about Bill Taunton Stadium, that is one of the loudest, most intimidating parks. It's not big, but boy do they get loud there in Wilmer. So we'll see how the end of that one goes. And then over in the Great Lakes Division, it's a close one in Kalamazoo. The Growlers with a 6-5 lead on Rockford, and Wausau up 5-1 in Madison in the bottom of the 5th. That Kalamazoo-Rockford game, again, top of the 5th in their contest.
So that's your out-of-town scoreboard. Grady Gorgon enters the game here. There you see the numbers on him. He's been good in his very limited time here in La Crosse. It is going to be a bit of mop-up duty for him. He's going to come in and try and just keep the base runners down against this Duluth team. He's out of Troy, the redshirt junior, originally from Mineral Point, Wisconsin. You know where Mineral Point, Wisconsin is?
All right.
Oh, I should. I've lived here for 10 years, but I don't. Off the top of my head, I want to say it's down near Madison, Milwaukee area, but don't quote me on that. And nonetheless, I mean, another good Wisconsin product here in the Northwoods League, and yeah, it's a one where he's going to come in and try to equal what Thomas did. And, I mean, this is an 11-3 game, right? Those 2 runs came in, and now, I mean, just seeing what's going on with Wilmer and St. Cloud, I just don't put anything past anybody as this game moves on. I mean, we're only in the 7th. That happened in the 8th inning of that game. There's more baseball left to play here in La Crosse.
Gorgon, so far in the year, 3 strikeouts and 4 walks. His last outing was against Rochester, where he went inning and 2/3. Did not give up an earned run. This is to the 9-hole hitter, Cal Elvis. Elvis actually reclassified as a senior in high school and went to play at JUCO, and now is on his way to Kansas. So if you go by the traditional clock and how players are, he's basically just graduated high school, despite already playing a year of collegiate ball.
Take 4.
And he's going to have a shot to play at Kansas this year.
I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, we've seen some really good Jayhawks in the league this season, and yeah, he does a lot of things here for this Duluth squad.
Flies it out to right. Anderson back, and he makes a nice running catch at the warning track, and that'll put an end to things here at the 7th. Duluth scores 2 more. It's 11-3 as we head to the 7th inning stretch on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
And let's go to break.
Here in the 7th inning. A beautiful night from Copeland Park here on the banks of the Mississippi River in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So it's still Juza out for Duluth. First pitch misses, well, is on the outer straight for a strike. First round here in the Northwoods League playoffs. You got the Luke chance coming from the crowd here. Anderson with 3 hits today. Double in the 2nd. Single in the 4th, and a single in the 5th.
I'm so hungry. 3-1. 3-3.
Appeal down to first. Max Steiner says yes, he did. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's hard to find a more beautiful backdrop in the Northwoods League.
Oh yeah, with the river right here
at Copeland Park.
That's great.
Just look at the bluffs.
Give me a shot
right third wall.
Yeah, I mean, just beyond right field, you've got UW La Crosse's campus, which is a great spot. If you've ever been in the press box there at Herring Stadium, in the football stadium there, you get perfect bluff views. I mean, it's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Gloved by Palmer, he throws across the infield to the new first baseman, Reagan Reeder. There's 1 away.
Yeah. Oh, sorry there, Mickey, but yeah, I mean, I think we kind of assume with Ethan Cole with that foul ball off his ankle and the way that he was running, that I think they need him to go tomorrow. So take him out, ice him up, and get him as ready as he can be. So Reeder going to take over there at first base defensively.
Here's Tyler Smith, takes a strike. Here's one more look at the ball that just went off Cole's foot. That's not great place to get hit. You see that a lot with these hitters. No protection down there, especially on the foot. Like, that's so hard. You could wear the Evo Shield shin guard, but it's not going to protect the foot. And that was the inside of the foot as well. So just a tough place to get hit. And here, Tyler Smith is rung up by Donald Say. There's 2 away.
Yeah, he still ran around the bases and scored a run in that inning as well. So, you know, I'm sure he probably got in there and they said, hey, we don't want you to mess around too much, especially with the team down 8. No need to really risk it right now. And hey, if they make a comeback without him, they make a comeback without him. But again, just want him ready to go tomorrow.
Now it's Kucherov.
Good, and they get here tomorrow? We're cooking.
Out of Northwestern. RBI single in the 4th, single in the 1st, and here a single in the 7th. Sends it down the line. Well, he might try to take a turn towards second. He decides better of it.
3-1.
Yeah, hits continuing. I mean, 14 hits now for the Loggers, and I'd imagine, I mean, probably have to go through the record books for the playoffs, but this has to be approaching most hits in a game in a playoff game for this Loggers team. 14 is not something you see a whole heck of a lot of in the playoffs in terms of hits recorded.
Or can you drop a filter?
Wattis stands in.
Yeah.
How many times do we see a blowout like this happen one day, and then the next day the exact opposite, or maybe not the exact opposite, but a team come back and put together a really nice performance? This series is far from over.
Being that I know only certain series and whatnot, but that's what happened in 2010 when the Express won the championship. They played Rochester, the Honkers in it, and each game was won by the home team, and they were all blowouts. Again, none of them were close in that, which, you know, is maybe not as much fun for the neutral fan, but one of those where sometimes that happens when you get to the playoffs, right? I mean, one team just sees a pitcher really well, and off you go.
It was a called strike. Wattis called back to the plate by Donald Say. What was the series? There was a Major League series in the playoffs a couple of years ago where the road team won every single game. I want to say it was the Houston series.
You have to look that up.
Here Wattis waves and misses. The count is full.
Of course, that's what the Twins were known for, right? I mean, the '87 and the '91 World Series, they won all their home games to win those, right? All 7 games and all home games that were wins for them. They never won a World Series game on the road in those 2 World Series that they won.
Win your home games.
And most of those, if I remember right, were blowouts in the St. Louis series in '87. Not a lot of close games in that '87 World Series. So it happens.
Do we have a charger here?
Yes.
It's a long ad back here.
Might need a farm truck.
And by if I remember right, Mickey, I want to say remember from looking it up, not because I lived it. So I don't want you to think I'm that old. Right?
I didn't have any thoughts by it. I didn't think anything of it.
All right, 3. If this is a strikeout, I want a pitcher.
Wattis now fouls it back.
Take 4.
Hey, that's cool if you lived through that. That's a cool era of baseball. Are you kidding me?
Well, I did live through it. I just don't remember it. So a little too young for that.
No, you didn't have to say that.
Take 4. 3-2. Take 2. 3-1.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Runner's off towards second again, and it's another foul ball. Well, Kucherak's getting his cardio in right now. He has gone on every single one of these full count pitches. And my goodness.
3, 2.
There he goes again.
Tell me what you're doing.
That's ball 4 finally. I don't think there's a happier man in the ballpark than Ryan Kucherak to be done running back and forth.
And look into that Wilmer St. Cloud game. Wilmer again up 12-10 after putting up a 9 spot in the 8th inning, but St. Cloud has 2 men on with only 1 out in the bottom of the 8th, so that's going to be a good finish down there as the Huskies are getting activity, and they might go to him here, as this might be the end here for Juza.
So we're going to do
so on his way up to the mound. We'll see if it's just a conversation or what.
Juza's thrown 81 pitches. They might want to keep it under 85. If you throw between 50 and 84, you only need 2 full calendar days of rest. at that point. So, in theory, that's Monday, Tuesday. He'd be available Wednesday for Duluth if they made the change. But they're not making it here, and so that's if you throw over 85 pitches in the first game of the playoffs, you're pretty much done for the rest of it, unless unless it's like a Kalamazoo versus Wilmer game and there's maybe a day off so that the team can travel, that kind of thing. But you throw over 85 at any point in the playoffs, you're pretty much done for the playoffs with the days of rest.
Again, how you deploy that staff is so fascinating in these playoffs.
So we'd assume, I'd assume from this that Juice is, that he's going home after this, or that he's done at least in terms of his pitching here, because he's likely going to throw over 85 in this inning if he doesn't get a quick out here.
Well, the same with Cassius Thomas.
Right.
No, Cassius is still here.
It's Prettle down in the bullpen for Duluth.
He's going in the championship.
Another fly ball foul. Palmer gets chase.
4. Take 4. How many days of rest do pitchers need?
How many balls do you think go into the river during a given
question.
game?
Great question.
There's got to be a couple. It's not far.
Oh, no, yeah, there's definitely ones to get over. That's why I don't park over there.
Dude, I forgot my car. I parked like right outside. I was going to say that.
Pitch clock is down to 10. Henry has a sign. This is high.
Got a foul ball up in the booth last night with Mickey, and on my way out to the car, I tried to give that foul ball to a kid on the way out, right? I kind of have fun with that. So I see a kid, hey, did you get a game ball? Shows me his hat, and he's got 3 game balls in it already. And I go, all right, well, I got to find somebody else now before I get to the car. So there's a lot of foul balls. I'm just saying, if you do it right, you can collect a lot.
Those kids, they know where the foul balls are going. They know the hot spots. That'll do it for Juice. A mid-at-bat pitching change. It's ball and 2 strikes. And it'll be Prettle into the game here for Duluth.
Thank you.
Look at the ball. And that also gives us a chance to maybe take one more look at the playoff bracket and how things stack up right now and the out-of-town scoreboard, because we've got a bunch of games going on outside of this.
Yeah, again, that Wilmer-St. Cloud game's a real interesting one. St. Cloud still down to 10 in the bottom of the 8th. All the games today are game number 1 of a best-of-3 series. Then in Madison, Wausau, who has the best record in the Northwoods League, they finished at 50-19, I do believe. 5-1, they lead in the top of the 6th at Warner Park. And then Kalamazoo now up 8-5 on Rockford in the bottom of the 5th. Still a lot of time left there in Michigan as well. Rockford team had a great first half of the season. I believe had the best record in the league. It was maybe them or Wausau at the end of the first half, but Kalamazoo a great second half, and they are up 8-5 on Rockford in the bottom of the 5th.
It's not like Rockford had a bad second half.
No, they had a good second half.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just Kalamazoo had a much better one.
Yeah, the way this sets up, Mickey, is that the winner of this series is probably going to have to go on the road. Well, we know they're going to have to go on the road for the Great Plains Championship, and probably going to have to go on the road if they were to beat Wilmer or St. Cloud against one of those 4 teams at the top of your graphic as well, because the overall records for Duluth and La Crosse are the 2 lowest in the 8 teams that made it. So. Again, road warriors after this series for whoever advances.
When you talk about Wausau and Madison, like those 2 had a very similar season to Rockford and Kalamazoo, because those 2 both won 50 games during the regular season. One won the first half, the other won the second half, and that was a crazy Great Lakes division this year. That both teams really, Madison set their team record in wins. And Kalamazoo probably got up there as well. So a fascinating series there, and a fascinating series all around. And the Great Plains East maybe a little bit more competitive in the fact that the top of the division didn't maybe cannibalize itself as much.
Well, think about that. What was it, a week ago? We had Thunder Bay, Eau Claire, and Duluth all tied atop the second half standing. So, there was a 3-way tie with, 7 games left to play, something like that. So it was everybody was right next to you. Waterloo, Rochester, they were all right there as well.
You see the numbers on Prettle. 5 2/3 innings so far this year. This will be his 8th appearance out of Santa Clara, California. Gets him to swing and miss. Well, 1 pitch, and he struck him out. And that will put an end to the seventh. So we're finally through 7, 11-3, the lead for the Loggers. This is the Northwoods League Sports Network.
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we are
2 minutes.
clear for 2.
Lacrosse by a lot as we enter the 8th inning. They are 6 outs away from picking up a Game 1 victory over the Duluth Huskies. 11-3 our score, and a pinch hitter coming up here for the Huskies to lead off the 8th inning. It's Caden Headley. He takes a strike.
Next pitch. This is adjusting audio. Yeah.
It has been all lacrosse in this game.
4, 3.
You see Gorgon staying on the mound here again. He needs to just get out, as you said before. Just throw strikes, right? I mean, that's the point now. When you're up by 8, you don't need to mess around with walks and hit by pitches. Just go get it.
Grounds it to the left side. Kucherov can't come up with it. Goes into center.
4, take 4.
So Headley's aboard to lead off this 8th inning.
3-1, take 1.
I mean,
can we show a stat line?
You're watching the out-of-town scoreboard, and you'd understand what's going on in the Wilmer-St. Cloud game.
Okay.
Who knows? The game is never over.
I think they have given that an error on the shortstop there, Kucherov.
Take 3, 1, show me the shortstop.
And that is the case. I heard he's 6 just to our right here, so that's how Headley will reach, and that's how you need to start if you're Duluth.
Right. Here's Duarte. You just need to start that snowball effect.
Yeah, St. Cloud loaded the bases in the bottom of the 8th, but didn't get any runs out of it. So Wilmer now taking that 2-run lead to the 9th inning.
Take 1.
That's dumped into right field, a base hit.
4.
So Duarte's aboard now.
3-1.
And hey, base runners is what you need if you're Wilmer.
Take 3.
Or if you're Duluth. My goodness, who's playing right now?
It's one of those things too. We saw in the bottom of the 7th inning when Gorgon came out, he got to a 3-0 count on Cal Elvis. Yeah, there was a guy on base, and he swung at it, right? Flew up to right. Duluth right now needs to take pitches, try to get 3-ball counts, and try to get base runners, as you said, because you're not hitting an 8-run homer. You just need to get on.
Sutherland swinging at the first pitch.
Take 4, let's tag him.
And I get it, right? I mean, you want to put a spark into your team. You want to do that as well. But again, if it's not in your hitting zone, at this point, I'm not swinging, right? I'm trying to get on any way that I can if I'm at the plate and I'm the Huskies down 8.
Take 2, 3-1.
That goes behind Sutherland. Both runners move up.
Good.
That was way behind him by a good 5-6 feet.
Well, see, you see that pitch right there? Now, if I'm Charlie Sutherland, I might not be swinging for 2 more pitches, right? I mean, if that's what you see from Gorgon, I'm at least not swinging at this pitch. Because again, my run, quote unquote, doesn't matter, right? I just need to get on and figure out ways to get these guys around and keep a lot of runners on base the next 2 innings.
Well, he's swinging anyway. Grounds it to the right side. Speared by Wattis. Race to the bag, and he makes the play. Gorgon covers. It's an RBI ground out for Sutherland. For now, that run is unearned. There's one away.
3.
And that is, while it did get a run in, that's an unproductive out.
Yeah, you'll take that if you're lacrosse any day, right? You'll trade a run for an out because now Duluth only has 5 more of those outs, and they still need to get 7 more runs.
4.
But even if there were 3 outs left and they needed 2 runs, you'd still trade it out for a run.
Right, but they do need to get only 7 runs, right? I mean, a couple innings ago it was 10. So, I mean, this is slowly but surely getting there.
Reeder pulls one down the left field line. He's aboard, and he has an RBI. Duarte comes in to score. And Reeder running towards second, and he's in.
1 pitcher. 31. Take 1.
A little opportunistic base hit there from Reeder, making his first at bat after coming in defensively for Ethan Cole, and he makes good advantage of it. That's sometimes what you need. You think about playoff series at the MLB level, and a lot of times it's the guys that you don't necessarily think about. It's that pinch hit or that guy who doesn't start a lot, who comes in and gets a big play started for you. And even if Duluth doesn't win this game, this is the type of thing that builds for tomorrow, right? I mean, it's a big thing to get a couple runs here late if you're the Huskies.
Just one more look at it. It's a sharply hit ball. Just a good piece of hitting. That stayed fair all the way. You normally see those kind of trickle into foul territory. But as you were saying, it was a 10-run game. And if you look up at the scoreboard after losing a 10-run game, you're thinking, wow, how do we beat these guys the next day? But it's become a 6-run game. You know, it's nitpicking, but that's not a 10-run blowout. There is a difference in how you look at that. Voss takes the strike.
Well, the Huskies, like most teams who make the playoffs, probably have 2, 3, 4 games in their memory banks where they think, man, we were down big in that game. We came back and won. They went down 6-0 after 2 innings against Eau Claire in a game up at Wade Stadium and won 7-6 on a walk-off. So they can do it, certainly.
Well, he squibs it into the left field, and they'll hold wisely Reeder over at third. And another runner aboard here.
And again, no need to make it out at home. You're down by 6, and Reeder didn't get a great read, no pun intended, on that base hit on the run around third. Just kind of took a weird route, and might as well just hold him up. Now you got a good hitter here in Palmer coming to the plate.
You just took the low-hanging fruit right there.
I honestly didn't. I walked right into it and realized I did it. That's what happens, I think, when you're a dad. You just walk into dad jokes without knowing it.
This is Palmer.
Tags in.
It's irreversible now.
Right.
Infield at double play depth. Voss at first, Reeder at third. Still a 6-run game. That almost got to the backstop.
Oh, yeah, he's
timeout.
He's claiming it hit him like that.
Yeah, no, it was made by the call was made by the first base umpire Steiner, and he's pointing towards his thigh. I can't say that I've ever seen a first base umpire make a hit by pitch call.
Well, you know, I think Donald Say was he thought he was going to get hit by that ball, and I think he turned funny. And, you know, Palmer reacted like he was hit. He started walking. And, I mean, you can see the lacrosse coach is not happy as we get a look back at the replay here.
Yeah, that hit, it looked like it hit his back foot. That pitch runs low on Fairchild. It's 1-0.
Yep, I can hear him.
It looked like it hit his back foot. It could have hit something else, maybe the glove.
Show me. What do you want?
Of Ian Collier.
3-4.
It's 1-1.
We thought that this could be the issue, right? Once you got past Thomas, the reason why lacrosse hasn't won a lot of games in the second half has been their bullpen, right? I mean, they've given up a lot of late runs, and Gorgon's in trouble here with the bases loaded.
Take one.
Fairchild squibs it off to the left side, picked up by Gorgon, throw to first. They got him. And a huge out number 2 recorded. Another run comes across, but again, you're still in a situation where you are more than okay trading outs for runs. As Reeder comes across, and everybody else advances.
Well, off the bat, I didn't think Gorgon had a chance at that one. And what ended up happening there is Fairchild got a really slow start out of the box. If he had, you know, been on balance or, you know, balanced basically at the plate and was able to take right off, I think he's probably safe there, but he didn't get a great jump toward first base, and that's likely why he was out. So that's a really hard play for a left-handed pitcher to make on that third base side.
Downing tied up in knots. Here's one more look. Initially, when he picked it up, in my head, I'm thinking maybe just put that ball in your pocket and live to see another batter, but that was a really good throw. We've seen pitchers airmail that a lot, and he did a great job of putting that right on the money.
And now, I mean, a base hit here for Duluth, and they're in it, right? I mean, you get it to 11-8 going to the 9th potentially, right? If you can shut down lacrosse in the bottom half, they're definitely in this game if they get a base hit here.
Downing has a couple of RBIs already today, but behind 1 and 2 now. He had a 2 RBI triple in the 7th.
One you can pull out.
And then doubled in the 3rd.
Go ahead, pull out.
He's been good out of that 8 spot today. 1-2, he swings and misses. Gorgon out of the inning. When Duluth made it a little bit interesting there, it is still a 5-run game. So we head to the bottom of the 8th. Lacrosse looking for a little bit more insurance here on the Northwoods League Sports Network.
Announcers are down, or I'll let you know. Clear. All right, everybody wipe off. 2 and some kid 1.
8, 9, and 1 due up for lacrosse as we head to the bottom of the 8th looking for some insurance. Duluth scores 3 in the 8th and making this game just a little bit more interesting here as Ian Collier stands in to lead it off. Yeah, that inning could have turned into a really big inning for Duluth and made this game real interesting headed into the ninth. But Jake Downing did strike out, and it's still, we don't know what's going to happen going into the ninth, as we were talking about during break.
5 runs is not out of the realm of possibility in a 9th inning here in the Northwoods. Again, we already saw 9 put up by Wilmer today against St. Cloud in that 8th inning. So, as Kevin Garnett once said, anything is possible.
Not in the state of Minnesota, though, unfortunately.
And not in the same context, but you know, same idea applies, I suppose.
We're cherry picking here. Ryan Prettle back out for another inning of work. He came in and threw 1 pitch in the 7th when he inherited a 1-2 count and then got the strikeout. But here, Collier absolutely unloads. 12-6.
Well, that's the type of thing that kills the momentum, right, that you just got in the last 2 innings. And it's just, I mean, that thing, I think, went over the scoreboard. They're absolutely insane how good of a hit that is. And the bullpen going to do a little bit of a dance. You can see them there in the corner of your screen. That's the type of thing that really crushes a team's spirit when they put up 5 runs trying to make a comeback.
Oh, we just got the numbers on that. 418 feet to left center for Collier. And his 3rd hit of the game.
Oh my God.
Now it's Elijah Ickes, who's 103 miles an hour off the bat.
Take 2 or 1? Love. God, we have the best stream.
Dude, we're gonna win broadcasting.
Crushed. That was the longest homer we've seen all day. That was the longest homer I think
Put on your story, say,
I might have seen all year.
Yeah, that's definitely up there for sure. You clear that scoreboard in left center, and that's, you got to have some height on it as well to get it over that thing. And
that's a Copeland.
Absolutely.
That's a Copeland comment.
I think he knew it.
Good shit, cameras.
Right as he hit it. He might have known that one was gone right away.
Ball's jumping today. I mean, Lacrosse is taking advantage of it. I think it's something we've seen across the Northwoods League. Homers are up, runs are up, and they are taking advantage of that here today with these 12 runs.
In front of everybody I know.
Camera operator.
2-1 to Ickes. It was high.
Ford, do you see him in the dugout?
Lacrosse, not a team known for their home runs. They rank 18th in the league with just 40 all season.
You say just 40, but I mean, historically, that's a pretty good number in the Northwoods League for a season. You go up and down some teams' history books, and there's plenty of seasons where they've gone under 40. And again, I'll bring up the Express one more time, but their record was 49 in a season coming into this season. They had, I think, 75 this year. I mean, it's just, the numbers are up across the league. It just shows you how these guys have kind of changed how they approach the game, right? I mean, you see the major league approach kind of, going down to the college level, right? It's about the home run and less about the bunt to get on base and all that kind of stuff.
In other words, these guys are eating their Wheaties.
That they are doing, for sure. Much to the chagrin of pitching staffs everywhere.
Here's R.J. Hamilton, much to the chagrin of outfielders that have to watch the balls fly over their heads. Well, who knows? Maybe they like the more opportunities.
The shoulder mount. It's just I'm using the wireless mount for something
Hamilton
else.
watches the ball down and away. I actually had the opportunity to go out and play and shag balls during batting practice last week in Rochester. It was fun watching those balls just climb and climb and climb. It's like when you figure out your golf swing and you figure out how to put backspin on the golf ball. It just keeps climbing.
Is that what a golf ball is supposed to do?
Oh. Not go 30 feet to the left, to the right.
I've been doing this wrong for years, for decades. Oh my goodness.
I'm the same way. That's something that guys really try to do, and that might be a part of the change as well. Is put backspin on the ball. They're looking for the backspin.
Well, and you see it, right? You see it numbers across the majors, right? I mean, you can get a guy who's hitting 200, but he stays in the league for a while if he has the power numbers, the OPS numbers, as you were talking about a little bit earlier, and that's been the change, right? Hit the home run. That's what we care about because that's what gets us the most runs, the quickest, the earliest, and that, right? So yeah, that's what they're looking for. I think these guys have grown up they've grown up. They've been born post Moneyball era, right? I mean, post when Moneyball started. So that's kind of the game that they know, and go figure they've translated here to college.
I don't like thinking about the fact that I am older than a lot of these players. So Hamilton draws the walk.
Get used to it.
I've got a long time ahead of me with a lot of that. Here's Sanderson.
Yeah, he's 42 right now, right? 43. Full bases. Yeah.
It was 3 runs in the first, 1 in the second,
Well, they,
3 in the third and the fourth,
now it's a new
1 in the fifth, and now 1 more in the eighth for Lacrosse. Now Hamilton on
Those
the
behind him,
second,
what
the
the fuck,
pitch
you guys
goes to
ready?
the backstop, and he's got another stolen base.
Okay, tell me when. I can go now.
Yep, go ahead. Space
He's
on
throwing
left corner,
behind him as
roll it
well.
down.
That was just another one. I think the second time we've seen one behind. I mean, not a stolen base, but he could turn that into maybe 2 bases with the speed that R.J. Hamilton has, as you can see.
Yeah, those 42 are entering today. Now, playoff numbers don't count towards regular season numbers, correct?
Correct.
So 44 this summer now with the 2 stolen bases today. Case Sanderson right now. He's also homered today. This time, not so much. Reader up with it. 2 down.
And now if Duluth wants any chance in the 9th inning, they cannot let Hamilton score. I know it's not a big difference between 6 and 7, but those 6 spots you see a decent number of, right? If you look up and down box scores just in a day in the Northwoods League, you've got a good chance of seeing 1 or 2, maybe 3 6 spots,
4 hours
throughout the course of all the teams playing, 26 teams playing, 13 games. So they can definitely happen, but in 7, 8, that starts to get into a little bit of that really tough territory.
Let's hold that shot.
It's Luke Anderson in now.
It's like a 3-1 or 3-2.
I mean, when you're still staring down the barrel of a 6-run inning that you need to have, it feels like long odds, but it's doable. It is doable.
Well, and I think if you're Duluth, if you don't come up with the win today, you might be, let's say, look at a 12-6 loss, right? And you say, oh, that's 6 runs. That really wasn't that close. If you say, well, if we didn't run into outs in the 3rd, and if we get that base hit there in the 8th, to get a couple more runs there, I mean, it's a totally different game, right? I mean, they can easily say 2 or 3 things go the other way, and we'd have been right there. So I think you can very easily mentally say to yourself, if you're Duluth, that this was not a blowout. If you could kind of argue that to yourself as you head back up to Duluth tonight.
I know it's 6-12.
Anderson ahead, 3 balls and 1 strike.
I mean, we killed him.
A walk here isn't the worst
just
thing.
a few of our errors. I mean,
Probably
how many
don't want
hits
to
do they
issue.
have? 4.
I also don't want to groove one to Anderson, though. 3 for 5 today.
And sometimes, I mean, we know the mental game is big, right? But sometimes you have to play those mental gymnastics with yourself to convince yourself of what you need to do the next day. To say, oh, we're right there with this team, because right now it's looking like you're going to have only won 2 out of 9 games all year against this lacrosse team. So you can get down on yourself real quick. So they got to make sure that they're having those positive thoughts as they head into tomorrow's game.
You don't need positive thoughts. Stop talking.
Anderson maybe broke his bat, flare into center, but it's tracked down by Fairchild, and that'll end the inning. So Duluth needs 6 to tie, 7 to take the lead. As we head to the 9th on Northwoods League Sports Network.
2, Clear for 2. Give me a second. Thank you. Clear for 2. All right.
Duluth needs 9 here in the 9th to try to make a comeback against Lacrosse. Not out of the realm of possibility. It'll have to start with 9-1-2 due up, starting with the Kansas Jayhawk to the 2B Kansas Jayhawk, Cal Elvis. Also the catcher. They're still facing Grady Gorgon, who's thrown 27 pitches. First pitch is rolled over to the left side. Ekus up with it, and there's 1 pitch and 1 out here in the 9th.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the way to do it, right? Again, we talked about it. When you need base runners, oftentimes it's just about taking pitches and doing that. But Cal Elvis has tried to do it with the bat. He's tried to spark the team, taking some backs. Hasn't worked out today. But again, this Duluth team, they've got something to build on, certainly, and they're trying to maybe give it a little bit more here moving into tomorrow's game.
I'm going to mute it, and then I'll mute when we get close.
This is Caden Headley to the plate now. He's in the leadoff spot after taking over in the 8th. Now it's 1-1. Took over for Thibodeau as the designated hitter. Now just an update from St. Cloud. They have now loaded the bases in the bottom of the 9th, trailing 13-11 against Wilmer, who's already made a comeback of their own today.
Again, important to remember the winner of this series plays the winner of that series. They'll play it wherever, whoever wins that, in Wilmer or in St. Cloud, with the records, with how good those records have been this, those teams have been this season.
2-1. It's a strike.
Take 3-1.
Well, Duluth had a chance for more than just 3 runs in that 8th inning. They brought 8 runners to the plate, as that's a base hit to right field. Headley just goes the other way with it and has something going here in the 9th.
3-1. Take 1.
Yeah, it's a good piece of hitting there, and again, just anything you can do to get on. You don't need to worry about any of the long ball or anything like that. And let's see if now this top of the lineup can do it. I mean, you got Duarte, then Sutherland, and you know, then Reeder, and it's definitely an opportunity. Again, they just need to be patient and make Gorgon work for it, basically. Make him earn it out there in the mound.
There's a chopper to left side. It is a fair ball. Ickes throw to first is in time. And there's 2 away.
I'm not sure that was the proper mechanic there, but it was both William Jett and Donald say both pointed fair at the same time.
It was really fair.
Right, so I don't think there's going to be much of an argument. Good thing that one didn't mark it one way and one mark it the other, or else we'd have issues. But both said fair. It was really close down that third base line, but now 2 out.
Sutherland swings at the first pitch, and it's just foul.
Okay.
There's one more look at it.
Nice.
It was fielded very close to that line. Hard to tell whether or not it was fair or foul. You know who got the best look at it?
There we go.
William Jett, Donald Say.
Not us, that's for sure.
Pull out.
Sutherland watches ball 1. Duluth down to their final out today.
Take 1. What do you want to pull out?
They have trailed the entire games, well, not the entire game, but since the bottom of the first. Sutherland's a high pop-up. This should do it. Kucherak under it. And the Loggers take game 1. Grady Gorgon did a really fine job out of the bullpen in relief of Cassius Thomas. But they had to pick a player of the game. There's a lot of options, but Cassius Thomas is probably up there.
Yeah, he is, right? There's a lot of guys, like you say, who hit home runs, a lot of offense for lacrosse, and in a 12-6 game, you might not be thinking pitching right away, but Thomas was the guy. And again, good pitching in the playoffs, that tends to win you games. And now we'll have to see if Duluth can answer tomorrow with a good pitching performance of their own. They got some good pitchers. We'll see who they decide to go with. But it's going to be all hands on deck because now it's win or go home for the Huskies. Lacrosse has a little bit of room to play with. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting once you get into these elimination games. Should be fun one tomorrow from Duluth. Again, a 12-6 win for Lacrosse here today. They score those 12 runs on 15 hits and 2 errors. And Duluth scores 6 runs on 8 hits and commit just 1 error. Well, we've been working with this crew for the first time tonight. They have done a phenomenal job, so we say thank you to them. And on behalf of the entire broadcast crew, we say thank you for tuning into this production of the Northwoods League Sports Network.
3, go. Go. Good shit.
All right, I think we are clear on our end for cut stream and stuff.
Thank you all season. Now, God, I've had such fun.
Awesome. Thank you so
guys
much.
are the
Have a
best.
great night.
Thanks, you too, Quinn.
Roll Logs.